As the afternoon goes on, that is supposed to increase. As the large Texas flag is just being taken off the field, the two schools have played their school songs, and you see the series record as you look at Dacus warming up on the sideline. And yesterday, Jack Pardee said we're going to go the way we have been all year, and that is I'm not going to name a starting quarterback until game time. So whether it's going to be number 13, who will trot there out on the field, David Dacus, the senior out of Kingsville, or Andre Ware, we're not sure just yet.
Well, one of the things that we have seen is the change has been made to Ware the last few weeks very quickly. As soon as Dacus doesn't show that he's red hot, they go right to that man, Andre Ware.
Here's Andre. Here are the rankings, both in the Southwest Conference and also in the nation. You see number one in all three of those categories, 8, 2, and 6 nationally. So it tells you exactly how powered this Houston Cougar offense has been this year. Dixon is the deepest man, as Clemens is going to have somebody to put a finger on the football. The wind is blowing that strong behind him. There is James Dixon, a senior out of Vernon, Texas. Line drive kick coming to the near sideline, out of bounds as Paul Smith watched it run by. 5 yards will be stepped off. And we'll go back, line up, and do this one more time, this time for the 30-yard line.
Now you would think he would get a good kick because he's got the wind at his back in this first quarter. Houston will be throwing into the wind. I'm sure that Texas wants to get off and score quickly, but you don't want to give the football to James Dixon back there. He's got a 26-yard average on kickoff returns, and that is a good average.
Well, we talked about the explosive attacks, particularly of Houston and also of the University of Texas. And as far as the lethal weapons department, those numbers right there speak for themselves, Dave.
Oh, boy, I tell you, Weatherspoon has been probably the surprise. Everybody expected Metcalf to do as well as he is doing. But really, Weatherspoon, they keep on saying, is he that good? Can he really throw for an 8-yard, 9-yard average?
That ball is going to go out of bounds again, and Clemens is off to a very slow start this afternoon. Now they're going to move the ball back to the 25-yard line. And as Dave said, we have discussed the fact that the wind is very strong today, but you would think that kicking with the wind that he would get off and running. Hasn't been the case so far. Wendell Sheldon is the referee today. Bill Voss, Buddy Coleman, Bobby Brooks, Tommy Moore, Bo Hicks, and Ron Murphy, the remainder of the officials in the ball game today. Wendell, of course, a veteran of the Southwest Conference Wars. I think one of the best ones in the country. There he is. Good look at him.
Well, he's a take-charge official. When he's out there, nobody talks back to him out there. I guarantee he takes charge. He'll say to those boys, son, I knew your father.
Okay, if you just joined us, it is not that anyone has scored. It is the fact that the first two kicks have gone out of bounds. So we have had a prolonged beginning to this one here. Parents' Day on the Texas campus. And this one is not even end over end, and it's going to go over Dixon's head and out the back of the end zone. And Wayne right now, I'm sure, is saying he has a very good sense of humor. And that's what I plan on all the time. So Houston will take it over at their own 20-yard line. You see, Andre Ware is talking it over with John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator, so he will be the starter at quarterback this afternoon. Andre Ware, the people who will join him. Ware, Anders, Phillips, Dixon, Brian Williams, and Kevin Mason. Those are the wide receivers. The lone setback, of course, is Anders. And there you see the guys who are up front. William Gant, the big center, 300 pounds plus. And the first play from scrimmage as Texas brings 7 men to the line of scrimmage. Backside blitz, pass is thrown incomplete. Into the flat by Jason Phillips, the intended receiver. And now let's set the defense for the Texas Longhorns, and I have a feeling, Dave, this is going to change rapidly this afternoon. You see the down 4. Patton, the freshman, Bolden, who was a first-time starter last week and had 14 tackles. Brockman, Hager, and Duncombe are the linebackers. And in the secondary, we show you one more time. We talked about the 2 sophomore and the 2 freshmen, Garza, Behrman, Richard, and Berry. incomplete at the 45-yard line. Jason Phillips, as they got single coverage, and Garza had to make the tackle that could have saved a touchdown.
Well, one of the things as we look at the Miller Lite what Houston must do is run its offense with confidence. That's something that they have not done well. They do it well in the second half. They've got to eliminate turnovers. They have turned over too many times, fumbles, interceptions, and on defense they have to disrupt the normal quarterback timing of the Texas quarterback. But they are a good football team.
So it's a 1st and 10 after a gain of 28 yards in the pass play to Phillips, the nation's leader. Ware rolls that pocket back over across the middle, incomplete. Hit immediately by Mark Berry as the pass was thrown. It'll go incomplete as Dixon couldn't hold on. It'll be a 2nd down and 10.
And one of the things is that as we look at James Dixon coming out of the backfield in his little crossing pattern, the ball's a little bit high. But one of the things that Texas has elected to do is go to a man-to-man coverage. You see one man in the picture. He's playing Dixon all by himself. They have about 7 or 8 men up on the line of scrimmage. They are going to come after Andre Ware in the Houston offense. They say, hey, we can't sit back and just wait for them to complete those little passes underneath.
2nd down and 10, line of scrimmage, the Cougar 48. Drops the ball. You could see Garza closing into the picture, but he wasn't close enough to do damage as far as making the reception. And now it's going to be a 3rd down and 10, and you have to be impressed in the early going with the protection by the Cougar offensive front.
Yes, the only reason they haven't moved the football, Ron, is, and Andre Ware knows this, is because they've had a little case of dropsy. They've dropped 3 balls in the early part of this game that they should have caught. That's when I talk about how they have to run their offense with confidence. They run in the second half. They are an awesome offense. They're much better in the second half. They need to get that confidence early.
Keep an eye on Witherspoon with a 3rd down and 10. They like a draw from this situation also, Dave. Phillips drops the ball at the 49-yard line, and you see the youngster grabbing his headgear, and Dave Rowe, you hit it on the head.
It's confidence, Ron. You have got to play. You see, it's all man-to-man coverage. See, everybody has a man. Now they turn and they try to pick underneath. Now watch how open Phillips is right there. The ball just goes right between his hands. You have got to make that catch. You just cannot allow that ball to be missed.
Simon Rodriguez averaging almost 41 yards a kick with the first punt of the afternoon. Metcalf is the deep man for the Longhorns. End over end into that win is tough. Metcalf fumbles the ball, and it looks still scrambling for it. Houston has recovered. Gaston made the recovery as Metcalf came up on the run on the short end-over-end kick, and the Cougar offense gets a giant reprieve.
They really do. Metcalf was trying not to let this ball bounce, and the ball was low on him. He just never found the handle on the football, but he was trying not to let it bounce inside the 10 or 15-yard line. He tried to make a good play. Look how far he had to run, and it was way down low. But on that position, you have got to concentrate on football and just cover it, even if you have to let it drop.
This high sky today could be a problem for both receivers and return people. 1st and 10, and the line of scrimmage is the Texas 21.
We're going to have a tally today on dropped footballs. You cannot throw a football any better than Andre Ware has thrown.
Let me show something else to you as we take a look at the replay. Dave, with all the incompleted passes, a punt, 3 kickoffs, we still haven't played a minute of the ball game. That's because of the stoppage of the clock. We still have 14:07 to play in this opening period.
Gosh, you
bring a sack lunch for later this afternoon.
Well, we expect a lot of offense. You mentioned it in the opening. They scored 100 points between these two, and there's no doubt that Houston can certainly score the 60 that they did last year if they get on a roll.
Ware possibly with an audible on the 2nd down and 10. Over the middle, has it complete. Inside the 15, down to the 11-yard line is Mason. And now David McWilliams on the sideline pointing up that the 25-second clock he thought had run out. Obviously, the ball was snapped just prior to it going to 0-0.
That play did take a long time because Ware made an adjustment on the line of scrimmage, and it looked as if it was snapped. If it wasn't snapped on 1, it was in between 1 and 0.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Cougars as Mason, the junior out of Houston, Texas, makes the reception of the ball just outside the 10. Phillips, touchdown. Mark Berry, the freshman out of Dallas Hillcrest, trying to cover on the play, and just that quickly, the Houston Cougars are on the scoreboard.
Ron, a nice move by Jason Phillips to get free from Mark Berry on the line. He just made a real juke, and all of a sudden he was wide open in the end zone, corner of the end zone. And again, a very well thrown football, thrown right on target because Berry wasn't that far away from knocking it down.
Roman Anderson to attempt the extra point, only missed one this year. His kick up, and let's take another look at it.
You'll see on the right of your screen, you'll see Dixon make that move into the end zone. Now watch the way the ball is thrown over top of the defender. He almost gets there with a hand. Just a very well thrown football.
So Phillips with the touchdown, and with 13 minutes, 35 seconds left to play in this opening period, the Cougars are already on the scoreboard. Here's Phillips on the far sideline. As Mike Adams' team the ball up 7-0, the Houston Cougars on top. You see him talking with his quarterback Andre Ware on exactly what the Texas secondary is doing or what they're not doing possibly. As Dave, what did we count up? How many plays have the Cougars run already?
Well, there have been 9 plays in the first minute and 25 seconds. 1 punt. That shows you how quickly their offense goes. Of course, a 3-play drive, 21 yards, Ron. It was really set up by that missed handling of that punt by Eric Metcalf. I keep on thinking of Terry Metcalf because I played against him in the pros.
Adams with the ball teed at the 35-yard line. And because of the wind, the 2 deep receivers for Texas have moved up to the 10-yard line. This is going to come to Samuels at the 13. 25, and he comes out to the 26-yard line. So this is the way the Longhorns will scrimmage. On offense, the redshirt freshman out of Round Rock, Westwood. It will be Mark Murdoch, opening at quarterback last week. His first start ever, and it was the 2nd best performance ever by a Texas quarterback. Pretty good credentials. The rest of the offense, Metcalf and Norris will be the setbacks, and you see Walker and Tony Jones. The tight end is Stephen Clark. And up front, Cephas, Miller, Champagne, Soleil, and Thomas. Metcalf in the backfield. Jenkins steps up to knock him down at the 25-yard line. And let's take a look at the defense as you see Jenkins up and down, the senior out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Alfred Oglesby, his ball game a couple of weeks ago against Arkansas, truly outstanding as he had over 20 tackles in that ball game. Lathan Burnett is in the middle because of the injury to McDade. And in the secondary, Callaway gets the start at that right cornerback spot, and Ellison in the place of Johnny Norwood. The 30 to the 32 as Lathan got taken out of the play, but Callaway from that quarterback spot. It's going to be a gain of 7, and for the Longhorns, they need 3. The Miller Lite must for Texas.
Well, they have to pressure the quarterback. They have got to get pressure on the quarterback on defense. They have to sustain drives, and that's keep away. Keep the ball away from Houston, and of course, use Eric Metcalf even more than what they already do.
To keep this drive alive, the Longhorns need the 36-yard line. Murdoch is going to be sacked. It's Jenkins again. Loss of 14 on the play.
And Ron, really this ball should be thrown. He's got a lot of time back there. He never really sets up, but he is not a mobile quarterback. He takes the sack almost always. He's not a running quarterback. He's more of a setback, drop-back passer type of quarterback.
Liljadal's punt, driving spiral. Anders way back to the 21-yard line. at the 34. 62, is that 62 or 67? No. 62 yards on the punt. Mark Simmelman downfield on special teams for the Longhorns to make the stop. So that Cougar offense, already leading 7-0, gets a chance to come right back onto the field as the Longhorns 1-2-3 in punt. Apple Roundup, Notre Dame leading big over Rice. That one in the second period. That's the only score we have right now. To the bottom of your screen. Pitch it back. That is Dixon on the reverse. At the 40. Spins off the tackle, and then Hager comes over to help out and knocked him out of bounds as Bierman also. And there was a marker down at the 45-yard line.
Number 17, Willie McCarthy. There was a flag.
Personal foul, dead ball penalty against the Texas Longhorns, and this penalty will take it across midfield inside the 45. So the Longhorns right now down 7-0. A fumble, which gave Houston the ball back at the 21, and now a personal foul call.
And that's not what you want to do to a Houston team, to keep them and give them field position on you. David McWilliams certainly knows that. You don't want to stifle the aggressiveness of your defense, but you want to make smart heads-up plays.
So the Cougars across midfield again. Weatherspoon, first time for him this afternoon at right guard, down around the 41-yard line. It's going to be a gain of a couple.
Number 28, Chuck Weatherspoon.
Boy, he is close to breaking it on that play. When they send him up through there and they've got Hager down on the line of scrimmage, they can really get in trouble quick with Weatherspoon busting through.
And now the Cougars with their no-huddle offense, as you see Ware walking from side to side, talking to his wide receivers. That's Dixon who is resetting. 7-0. Cougars lead. We're about to go under 11 to play in this opening period. Drills it in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Kevin Mason. Hit him on the shoulder pad at the 22 as he had curled in front of the coverage.
Boy, Ron, you cannot throw the ball any better than this. Watch this strike that Mason just drops, and there's no other way to say it than just drops. He curls in. Look where the ball hits him. Right between his numbers, 8 and 6. Right on the dot. Ware is awfully sharp. Now, the thing is whether he gets a little bit upset by the drops. You can see he's only 3 of 9. He's had, I believe, 5 drop passes in his first period.
Cody Smith comes into the lineup. It's third down for the Cougars. They need the Texas 34. Option play. Ware pitches the ball back. Weatherspoon, and he's going to have the first down unless Wendell Sheldon says his knee was down. Play is over at the 42-yard line.
And Ron, if he's not down, I thought that was a forward lateral on that play. If Ware's knee was not down, then it would have been a forward lateral.
Bobby Duncombe is the man who comes across. That's where they whistle the play dead as the officials say, nope, the knee was down. So a punting situation. Simon Rodriguez didn't kick at a great distance last time. It was only 31, but he came up with good results as Texas fumbled.
And number 23, Chris Nielsen, deep receiving.
This one's going to go into the end zone, so let's take a break. 10 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in this opening period. 42-yard kick by Rodriguez. Cougars leading. We'll be right. We are back as Jack Pardee looks over his defensive unit. His ball club leading 7-0. Murdoch has it complete. Tony Jones out at the 35-yard line.
Oh, what a nice pass to Tony Jones. Laid it over top of the defender and dropped it inside. Now watch to the right of your screen. You're going to see that Murdoch, good touch on this football. Throws it over to the defender there and right in front to Jones. Jones certainly knows to get out of bounds, but nice catch. That's a good play, Ron.
Gain of 15 yards in the initial first down of the afternoon for the Burnt Orange. Draw with Norris. Has a couple, counted at 3. He'll bring it out to the 38. Craig Vesey The senior out of Clear Lake, the right defensive end. Here's a 2-year letterman. Came up with the stop for the Houston Cougars.
Number 63.
Dave, the crowd was a little slow in getting here today with this noon start, but as you look around, the student section, and for the most part across the way, is filled. They were looking for between 68 and 70,000 today here in Austin. Murdoch has the ball batted down at the line of scrimmage. Glenn Montgomery, I believe.
Number 56.
Glenn Montgomery got a hand up. We'll look at it again.
Now, this is what you want to do as a defensive lineman, get those hands up in front of the quarterback. It's like throwing through the woods. But I'm particularly impressed with Texas's offensive line. The time they're giving Murdoch to sit back there, he has had good time to throw the football. That was one of the main concerns they had.
He has a little bit of a tendency, it appears, to throw sidearm, which gives that defensive front a little bit of an advantage sometimes. Shuttle pass to Norris, caught from behind, and he will not pick up the first down. Stopped after a gain of 1, and it's Burnett who was trailing on the play, and it is punting time for Texas.
I was watching Murdoch come to the sideline. He really got stung on that shuffle pass. They had a blitz on, and they really stuck him as he got the ball off. But to watch him.
Houston with a return on this time, and Liljadal again puts up a missile at the 5, and it'll go into the end zone. 62 yards again. That's back-to-back 62-yard punts by Bobby Liljadal.
Well, I believe he was about 7th, and he's one of the top 7 punters nationally coming into this game. Now, what he wants to do is make sure he just punts with the wind and don't punt against it.
Here at today's games, we showed you the score of Notre Dame Rice. That one underway with the Irish leading big, and the rest of the schedule, Arkansas at Baylor. That one's kicking off in about 30 minutes. Then at 2, the Red Raiders at TCU and Louisiana Tech at College Station to take on the Aggies. Kimball Anders back in the ball game for the Cougars at running back, replacing Weatherspoon. Protection over the middle, incomplete. Paul Bierman was covering as Dixon, the intended receiver.
And Ron, that's how one of those sophomores grows up with experience. But look right there. That's a defensive call. Good series or good offensive call. Good series. Tight and tough. Stay in tight. Stay tough. Give the quarterback a lot of time.
Scocchetti, the defensive coordinator. Something to his wide receivers. That 25-second clock is down to 2. It gets off the snap at 1. He's going to throw a fly pattern. Incomplete as Brian Williams couldn't run underneath it. Mark Berry was coming back on the cover. Bierman came over to help him, but with the speed of Brian Williams, he had shucked them both.
He certainly had. If Ware has a little more touch on that football, that goes for a long gainer. But you have to be impressed with the multiple facets of this run and shoot offense. Everyone talks about it, that it seems as if it's disorientated out there. Everybody's going every different direction, but everybody has a read on the run.
Disoriented, huh?
Yeah, disoriented.
7-0. Cougars leading. 8 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in this opening period. Cougars with a 3rd down situation. Ware, great protection, going long for Phillips, and this one is overthrown.
And Ron, that's a little surprise. You can hear the Texas crowd reacting to their defense. They know how potent this Houston offense is, and they've got to respond. And they are playing very well. They're playing man-to-man, and they've stayed with Houston so far in this first period.
Metcalf is the deep man. He's dropped off to around the 41. Good look at Simon Rodriguez. Good punt into the wind. Metcalf fighting with the sun. Goes back with a return to the left, and he has an avenue. At the 40, if he's inbounds, he will score. Metcalf goes to distance. They're going to say he stepped out of bounds just shy of the 25-yard line.
Boy, what a return by Eric Metcalf. Ronnie took his eye off the ball to pick up the covering team, put it back on the ball, found out where the coverings team was, and then front of him. Now, right in here, you're going to see a move he has to make to get back inside. Let's watch his feet. Right there, he's trying. We can't really see it from that angle, but he's trying to stay in bounds.
Sexton is the man, I believe, who pushed him out. It is a 46-yard punt, which into that wind is some kind of kick, but 37 on the return. So the Longhorns, for the first time today in Houston territory. Murdoch drills it. Tony incomplete. Looking at the 25, number 1 rather than number 4. Johnny Walker, the intended receiver. Jackson was there defensively for Houston.
It's really important that Texas capitalizes on this play. You see Murdoch looking at his hand. He's got plays written on that hand band in situations, and they signal in the number of plays. They give him some responsibility to call, but it's really important that they pick up something on this drive.
Murdoch, far sideline, complete to Metcalf. That's going to bring up a third down situation as Callaway was out there on the cover, but the pass play is going to pick up only 5. And now to keep this one alive, Dave Rowe, it's going to have to go down to the 19-yard line.
And there you see what Murdoch did last week. We thought that he wouldn't have enough poise to come in there and lead his team. Threw for over 300 yards, only the third one ever in Texas history to do that.
Round Rock, Westwood. That's where young Mr. Murdoch is from. Pass away. It is intercepted by Jackson inside the 10-yard line, and he'll bring it back to the 11. As Jackson, who had such a fantastic game last year against the same Texas Longhorns, and you can't just put it up for grabs against this secondary.
Well, you can't. I think that Jackson is just standing back here. He doesn't even have coverage. You'll see him. He's not really in the coverage. You see him out in the corner there? He had his coverage, but he came back and read the eyes of the quarterback and played that so very well. And you talked about it last year. 3 touchdown receptions.
NCAA record in that ball game last year. And that one, I don't think there's any other way to describe it than Mark Murdoch just put it up in the air. Prayerful, and can't do that against a good football team.
Well, I think a lot of times this Houston defense is overshadowed by a great offense, but they have an excellent defense, Ron.
7-0, the Cougars are leading. Draw play, Witherspoon hit by Dwayne Duncan as he crosses the 10. Going to be a gain of a couple. Dwayne is another Austin area youngster, Dave. He comes out of Westlake High School. He's a junior, 6'4", 234 pounds. The Cougars now with their no-huddle offense. His brother is Bobby Duncan, number 46, who plays left defensive end. Going long, Dixon overthrown as Stanley Richard at the 40-yard line had the cover.
Ron, I know our audience out there, as you were talking about Duncan being from a local young man. We went by a high school football game last night, and that would have been a big crowd for a lot of college football games. I couldn't believe the number of people in that stands as we drove by.
Dave, this entire state of Texas, and now the playoffs are beginning, it'll absolutely amaze you. And it's not always just the 5A schools, but the crowds that you'll see of 20, 22, and 23,000 people that come out to see the high schools play, particularly when they go to the playoffs. It's almost like the rites of early fall. Pressure from Snead, and the ball is thrown away, and it's intercepted at the 4-yard line. And Wendell Sheldon says he is down. Mark Steed was the man with the pressure. So we had back-to-back quarterback situations of throwing the ball away and getting in trouble. And Andre Ware, he's shaken up after the tackle.
Well, watch this play. You're going to see number 66, I believe it is, come from the right side.
And then Mark Steed right there.
Yep, right. He makes the tackle. Now watch right there. See, there's the knee down. And right there you can see that he's in excellent position to make the call. The official is. And there's the interception.
Simon Rodriguez will not get his full 15 yards this time. He's going to have to get this punt up in a hurry. Look at the wind grab that one. Metcalf has to run away from it, and Houston will down it at the 35. Thompson is the man who is downfield in the coverage. 34 yards in the kick, but under those circumstances, that's a very good job by Simon Rodriguez.
Well, you want to see why he didn't throw the football. Watch the receiver. In this case, it's Jason Phillips. Now watch, see, he slips and falls down here. Now he's in a crowd, and there's a throw out there. There's the interception.
Stanley Richards thought, wow, may have a free one here. So Texas takes it over. Second time in a row that they have taken it over inside the Cougar 40-yard line. Metcalf has 5. Burnett, Reggie Burnett, the right side linebacker out of Rayville, Louisiana. Number 88 comes up to make the stop.
And Ron, one of the things that we've watched Metcalf over the last few years is his ability, once he gets in the hole, to just accelerate. He's one of those running backs that seems like he's running in at full speed and all of a sudden just bursts through that hole.
You never know which gear he's got it in, unless he's behind you. Pass looking incomplete. Nelson, the intended receiver. Ball was just a little bit underthrown. Kevin Nelson, a youngster out of the Houston area, out of Houston Dulles High School. He has had to come back twice from shoulder problems with a collarbone.
Now you see there Murdoch looking at his hand. He looks over for the play. There's the hand. See on his wrist there? Those are all the plays that he calls, because he is just a freshman out there. He's got a long career ahead of him.
3rd and 5, and you see what the Horns have done on third down conversions. Draw play. Norris will have the first down and more inside the 15, and he's down to the 13. Ellison comes up from that safety spot, but it's a gain of 12.
Well, you remember the old give the leg away and take the leg away play? Watch Darren Norris on this play. He's going to give a leg to the linebacker right there, and boom, just sidesteps. And that was 46, Lathan, who's a good outside linebacker. And once he breaks into that secondary, he's just got a big gainer down inside the 15-yard line.
Now they're going to say officially 17 yards in the carry. Metcalf with the pitch, looks for a block from Norris, is going to run out of bounds inside the 10, and he'll say just shy of the 70-yard line.
Boy, and what a block he picked up from his tight end, Stephen Clark, on that play. Clark had the linebacker just locked inside. You may see it on the left of your screen. He's number 82, and he's just got his man just locked inside. There he is in your picture. That's what allows, and the good block by Darren Norris allows Metcalf to get outside.
Chris Ellison coming from the backside to help push the play out of bounds. 7-0. Cougars leading. Clock is stopped with 6:04 to play in this opening period. Cougars coming with a corner blitz. Murdoch running for his life, and he throws it away. Don't know how many times that the opposition has seen that, but Alton Montgomery was coming with a blitz from the outside, and it certainly messed up the works.
And the quarterback should have seen this, because the cornerback came off. There you see number 29, Alton Montgomery, who's the strong safety coming in. Quarterbacks have got to be able to read that and adjust quickly. Murdoch didn't see it as quick as he should have.
3rd down and 4 as Clark brings in the play from the bench. Texas needs the 3.5-yard line for the first down. Draw play to Metcalf. Left side, has running room, and he will have the first down. Inside the 4 and down to the 3. Callaway for that right cornerback spot comes up to make the tackle for the Cougars.
What an excellent call. It's a roll draw. In other words, you start strong side, give it to him, he comes back, and look, see how he picks up the blocks? Now watch this move at the end right here where he gets the feet out of that. Oh, boy. If he doesn't slip right there, he's down and in the end zone. He is an exciting person to watch run the football.
You see Kerry Cash checking into the ball game, number 19. You might look for the Longhorns with their alley-oop play or the loft pass right here. They did it last week against Texas Tech. They will stay with the run. Metcalf, right side, shy of the end zone. They'll say at the 1-foot line. Thomas stepped up to make the hit and deny him the end zone.
Good line search, good control here by both the offense and the defense. And Metcalf just finds that little position. You'll just see him squirt inside and dive for the line. He looked as if he may have put the ball out on the line. That looked awfully close. If he comes down with the ball on the line, that's a touchdown. That was close. 2nd down and goal. Less than a yard to go. In fact, there you can see it. And
In fact, we'll let you listen to it. Metcalf tagged in the backfield. It is Montgomery who came roaring through, and Alton Montgomery out of Griffin, Georgia, a junior college transfer, drops him for a 3-yard loss.
Boy, Montgomery, you wouldn't think that he would be this strong, but watch the arm. Boom! It's almost like he ran into a train or something there. That arm of Montgomery just jerked him down.
Third down for the Longhorns. The ball just inside the Houston 4-yard line. Murdoch, backside blitz is on, throws it incomplete as he drilled Norris with the pass, incomplete, and the Longhorns will have to go for the 3 points.
And you can see how much the pressure that Houston put on disrupts the play and the tempo of Mark Murdoch. He's not a cool quarterback under a lot of pressure because he's just a freshman. He did very well driving him down there. When his line gives him enough time, he is a good quarterback, good straight drop back passing quarterback.
Clemens 9 of 14, his longest 55. Murdoch is the holder. On the tee, it is up, and he's good. So let's take a break with 4:10 left to play in this opening period. It is Houston 7 and Texas 3. We'll be right back. David McWilliams on the sideline, and I'm sure he's disappointed to have to go for the 3 points after his ball club had driven inside the 1-yard line. But Dave, the point you made about the overlooked Houston defense gave a good indication right there of just how good they are.
They are a good defensive unit. They don't get the credits but when you look at yards per carry against them, they're one of the lowest in the Southwest Conference. You look at the average completion percentage, 39%. They are one of the best in the Southwest Conference. But the problem is when you score fast, you give the offense a chance to have the football, and you drive it a lot.
David, total offense, the numbers we have here in the booth is Houston 47 yards, Texas with 49. We have seen what appeared to be more action than that. Dixon will watch this one go over his head and sail out of the end zone. Marker is down as we take a look at the scoring drive. 10 plays, 32 yards. Clemens with the field goal from 20. And Houston says we would like to see Texas kick it over again.
Especially as we listen to the call of all sides, especially when you have kicked the ball out of the end zone, you've just had them run all the way downfield. Now they're tired to take that deep gasping breath. Now they line back up for 5 yards more. They say, hey, we want to see if you can do it again. We had a real nice conversation with Jack Pardee. He is a really nice person. He's been under a lot of pressure this season to turn his team around. He started doing it last year. And boy, he has got the respect of the Southwest Conference teams and national teams, because he told me before the game that he's got several bowls that are looking at him. So they're kind of excited this year in Houston.
They've certainly not to look ahead, but they have a ball game next week that is extremely important with Wyoming coming in, who is an awfully good ball club. Ball is fumbled at the 5-yard line and then taken as Paul Smith up the middle, going to be hit by Bobby Rhodes as he crosses the 25. Also Wilson downfield on the special teams.
I think that analogy that you made about David McWilliams, his defense, getting drowned in the Pacific or getting drowned in the Atlantic, he's gone with the blitz. He's gone with the up-front defense. He's gone with man-to-man coverage. And so far, he hasn't been burned with it. They've played very well on defense. They've held Houston in bay, 47 yards. That's not many yards for this team with the average that they have.
Cougars leading by 4 with just over 4 minutes to play. Some changes defensively for the Longhorns. We'll give them to you in just a moment as Jet Brown goes in motion. Shovel pass. Dixon hit at the line of scrimmage. Going to be knocked down after a gain of 1. You see Roger Pritchard, number 66, young man who injured a knee against Arkansas, couldn't play last week. He was the man with the stop. Mark Steed is 87. We have called his number, but the right defensive end is 26, Charles Hunter. Started off as a freshman as a running back, and Dave, his very first ball game at Texas had over 100 yards, but since switched to defense. And today, Coach McWilliams said he wanted to get more quickness on the line of scrimmage as far as pressure on the quarterback. So Hunter is at the right defensive end spot from time to time. Where good protection, has a man open, complete at the 48-yard line. Jason Phillips right in front of the Texas bench, and that is enough for the Houston Cougar first down.
Well, there's a mismatch on this play. You'll see that Dwayne Duncombe is going to try to cover Phillips out of the backfield here. And when he turns, and Phillips has got all that room, you can see the adjustment he can make. 48 is Duncombe trying to cover him man-to-man.
And you see the safety, Paul Bierman, coming over trying to give him help, but he couldn't get over in time. We were talking about that 25-second clock a while ago. We understand on the bench from our people down there that Jack Pardee was warning Ware about the fact that that 25-second clock was getting down very close. In fact, that was a delay of game, and it was not called. Yet now they have whistled it down as the marker had come from downfield. And just as we talk about it, Ware did not get the play off in time.
Ron, as we look at the official called delay of game, this is called delay of game, but as we look at it, Ware takes a lot of time. Even though he doesn't make a huddle, he's still taking 15, 20 seconds, walking back and forth across the line, yelling to his wide receivers on the right, yelling to his wide receivers on the left, and it takes a lot of time. Now, those 25-second clocks are on the scoreboards in the end zone, and they're hard to see. There you see it on the scoreboard, but that's a long way from the football field.
That's the one that is behind Houston right now. There is another one in the north end zone. Down at 15. Shovel pass, hit in the backfield, and knocked down is Jason Phillips. I mean, as soon as he got the pass, Britt Hager and Mark Steed were all over him, and it's going to be a loss of 4. Now the Cougars with a second down and 19.
Well, watch Hager on this play. He's the middle linebacker, number 60. He's going to be in the backfield. You see 56 in there also. He's coming in, but they're way up on the line. They're crushing the line back, trying to blitz through to get that penetration, and you can't throw a shuffle pass in that situation.
Looking for Dixon. He's got it, and he will score. And Dave, I am dying to see it again because the receiver on the right side was in motion before the ball was snapped.
It certainly looked like it to me when I looked across. I thought for sure. Now a flag goes down in the end zone.
I don't think that's going to affect the touchdown, though.
But we may be able to see that play after the kick. Well, first we'll have to hear what the call is. I believe it may be the celebration penalty where he didn't give the football to the referee, just kind of threw it down and spiked it. But again, I thought he was in motion also. As he came along the line there, I didn't think he was set.
So the 15 yards will be stepped off on the kickoff. 13-3, the Cougars go on top with Roman Anderson to attempt the extra point. Anderson is good, so with 1:34 left in this opening period, let's take another look.
Well, look at Dixon on the top of your screen.
Yep,
you see right there?
The ball is snapped. Wow.
Oh, boy, if he wasn't in motion, I haven't seen motion. I may want to take another look at that. Tell our producer, Johnny Tyus, I'd like to take another look at that, Johnny. He says commercial.
So let's take a break. 1:34 left to play in this opening period, and Houston goes on top by a count of 14-3. Let's take a break.
Ron, let's watch James Dixon at the top of your screen there. He's number 22. Now watch when the ball is snapped here. Now watch quickly. There's Dixon in motion. There's the ball snapped. It wasn't even close. That was motion. But the results are still the same at 7 points.
Dixon from 61 yards, and the Cougars go on top 14-3.
Well, that's one that you run over in the coaching reel and said, how'd they miss that one?
Adams with the kickoff. 15-yard penalty, and with the wind, this one is going to come down at the 30-yard line. As the return goes to the left side, Samuel's looking for a spot to run, and he won't even get back to the 30. Good coverage by the special teams for the University of Houston, as Ball, one of the first men downfield, along with Bearden. Apple Roundup, some of the other scores. Notre Dame 31-6 over Rice.
Well, that makes a believer out of me. In West Virginia, 7-3 over Cincinnati, and that's in the first period.
As the other ball games are beginning around the conference, we'll update you on them later on this afternoon. Murdoch drills it complete. Metcalf is hit by Jackson just inside the 30. That's going to be a gain of only about 1, as Jackson very quickly on the close.
This is what you see if you're a defensive back. You can see Metcalf's going to make a crossing pattern here. As soon as he gets the football right here, he's going to turn around, and the defensive back is going to be right in his face. That's Johnny Jackson. Mr. Metcalf certainly draws a lot of attention.
Boy, he does, doesn't he?
Oh, boy.
Metcalf trying to run off the block of Stan Thomas, and you could see Metcalf went inside instead of out, and he's going to be knocked down after a gain of couple, and we are finally under 1 minute to play in this opening period, and this one kicked off just about an hour ago.
Well, it's been kind of a slow, boring game so far, Ron. Not if you like offense.
14-3, the Cougars on top. Pass overthrown, looking for Metcalf out of the backfield on the third down play. And Texas, with that incompleted pass, the only break they get here, Dave, is with 15 seconds showing on the clock, they get to kick with the wind.
Yes, they do. I think if Murdoch had had a little bit more time to find Tony Jones across the middle, he was wide open. You can't zero in on that one receiver and go to your primary receiver all the time. You have to have confidence in your line that you can come off and pick up that secondary receiver.
Lil Jadal averaging 61 yards per kick so far this afternoon. That first one they said officially was 60. His second one was 62. And here a marker is down, as the Texas special teams have had a world of problems so far today.
They have. I was looking at the upbacks, and I've been in this position, and what he did is he was just leaning forward and just fell out of his stance. He had to put a foot forward, caused illegal procedure by the upback on that play. Gives Lil Jadal a little bit more room to punt. Now he's got 70 yards he can punt.
Driving spiral again. Anders at the 16. Finally picks it up and is going to be hit. Bobby Rhodes on the special teams following that 59-yard punt.
He is brought down by number 67, Bobby Rhodes.
4 seconds showing on the clock. That's what the Houston Cougars have left to work into the wind in this opening quarter.
They have moved the ball very effective into the wind. Now they have to make the adjustment. And Ron, the biggest adjustment for a quarterback is to play with that wind, because all of a sudden those passes that you're throwing with just a little bit extra, you've got to take a little bit off. So it does change it, but he's got one more throw at least with this wind.
Continues at quarterback. It's Jet Brown in motion to the bottom part of your screen. And it is Weatherspoon, and he slips down at the line of scrimmage. Contact, as the Houston crowd had happened right in front of them, and they thought that possibly the hit should have been marked. We'll talk more about it in just a moment, as that is the end of the first quarter with our score. The Houston Cougars 14 at Texas 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations. Houston Cougars up by 11 points over the University of Texas. Right Right now, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network. Some of the near capacity crowd on hand today as Jack Pardee paces the sidelines. We mentioned in the first quarter.
Well, now they're marking off a penalty. They may have thrown a flag on that last play, Ron. I didn't see a flag.
They picked it up, and what Wendell Sheldon has said is unsportsmanlike conduct called against the offense. So the penalty moved back to the 10-yard line.
Of course, I would
assume in looking at the down marker that it was a dead ball foul because they have registered second down. So for the Cougars, we reset it for you. It's going to be a second down. And it looks like about 20 yards to go. The ball just across the 10.
But they called it against Houston. That was surprising.
The Cougar fans across the way had hollered at the end of the quarter that they thought it should have been against Texas. Draw play. Spoon looking for a spot to run. Is going to take it for 4, maybe 5, close to the 15-yard line. Britt Hager from the middle linebacking spot along with Bobby Duncan. First quarter stats.
Look at the yards rushing for Houston. Of course, that's normal, minus 2 yards. Not with Witherspoon, but 129 yards passing to just 22. That shows you both the power of their offense plus the dominance of wind. The time of possession, surprisingly, just about even.
Third down for Houston. Where? Going long and wide open is Dixon, and the ball is knocked away. As Bubba Jacks came from all the way across field to knock the ball down, and for a moment, Dixon was just very lonely right in front of the Texas bench.
Well, Jacks is playing the safety, and he reads the quarterback. Now look how far he comes over here. There he is, 25 in your picture. Comes all the way across to break this ball up, but you were right. James Dixon had floated down the sideline. The cornerback evidently felt he had safety coverage help, but he didn't on that play until late.
Metcalf to the bottom of your screen as you look at Simon Rodriguez. Chris Samuels was the man on the other side. Driving, great kick. Off the hands of Samuels, inside, and will go into the end zone.
Ron, that may be 85 yards. And I believe they may have called him touching the football.
The ball was touched by Samuels on the field of play, and Witherspoon in the end zone recovers the ball, and the officials say touchdown as it went off Samuels' hand.
Let's see if we can see that again. It's from the 15-yard line. It's an 85-yard punt, but let's see if he touches the football. Watch Samuels' hands here. Oh, boy, if he touched it, he had long fingernails. Wait a minute, David. Oh, boy, I don't believe this.
He did not touch the football.
He reached for it.
He did not touch the football.
Well, perhaps we can get another look at that after this kick, but I don't know that he did. It looked, from our position, perhaps we can get someone to stop the football right where it crosses his fingertips, but it looked as if there was air in between there, or what you would consider light. It didn't look like the trajectory of the football changed at all, Ron.
Anderson with the extra point attempt. Okay, let's look at it again, very slow.
Now watch right here and see if the ball, the direction of the ball changes.
Nope.
No, he wasn't within 2 or 3 inches of it.
So first a motion penalty that was not called, and now an untouched fumble. We're going to take a break. 14:03 left until halftime at our score. Houston 21-3. David McWilliams pacing the sidelines. He has lost that case, and it is now a 21-3 ball game with the Cougars on top, and we still have 14:03 left to play in this first half.
And Ron, what you look for on that play is you look for the ball to change the direction that it goes. If it's going to skip off his hands, the ball is going to change. Now the referee or the official was a lot closer than we were, but I thought our picture showed that the ball did not touch his hand.
Metcalf at the 3-yard line. Runs out of bounds as he crosses the 25 at the 26.
He is forced out of bounds by
Bales downfield of the special teams. And the Texas Longhorns, as we take a look at the West Virginia score, they have tallied another touchdown, leading Cincinnati now by 8.
Well, Ron, one thing in support, I guess you'd say, of Texas is that they have faced adversity all year long, and they've rebounded from it. And I'm sure that's the talk that David McWilliams will have with his team when they get to halftime, which is a long way away.
Metcalf cuts it back, has 5, and is going to be hit on the ankles as he crosses the 36 to the 37. Callaway from his safety spot, but it's going to be an 11-yard pickup.
number 25.
And Ron, to rebound from something like this, I can imagine, because I've been out in a situation like this on the field, what you want right now is your offense to control the football. It's something that Texas has not done all year. They're a very explosive offense, but they need to control the football and get their poise and confidence back in their offense.
Metcalf squeezes through a hole, crosses the 40 as Lamar Lathan comes up defensively, and the Cougars with a player down at the 42. That looks like Craig Vesey.
See how quickly the trainers get there. They don't move him, of course, until they can talk with him. He's alert, obviously. You can see him moving, but they have good training staffs at both these schools. They take excellent care with these football players. They're well conditioned, and these trainers are well trained.
That looks like his left either knee or ankle. You can see he's wearing a brace on that left knee. We'll get a report on him. Craig Vesey. So that means that number 97, Darren Warren, will come into the ballgame. Darren is a junior out of Crockett, Texas. He's a 2-year letterman. 21-3 our score. David, I would love for us to have a ball game one of these Saturdays with no controversy. Good heavens.
Well,
yeah, I guess as I just said in the truck, that'd be too easy.
well, we've had a few, haven't we?
Boy, like every one that that we have watched this year. Metcalf, not much there, hammered down. You see 64, Keith Jenkins roll him to the ground as he crosses the 45, and now it's 3rd down. Texas needs about 1.5 yards to pick up the first.
Well, you can see the position of Eric Metcalf. Boy, that's a great position. Look at the people that are ahead of him. Rosie Leaks and Earl Campbell. Well, there's some good football players ahead of him. He's moving up that ladder, isn't he?
4,400 by Campbell is
I don't think that's
simply
reachable.
unbelievable, isn't it?
I don't believe that's reachable. Not in this era.
Metcalf turns it up. Will have the first down as he takes it to around the 50-yard line. Alfred Oglesby, one of the first men, along with Montgomery.
And Ron, I want to tell you, this is smart play calling by David McWilliams and his staff. Because what you want to do, you've just been shocked. Your defense is shocked, your offense is shocked, your quarterback is shocked, everybody is shocked out there. And what you want to do is gather composure, and you go to your number 1 man, and that's Eric Metcalf. Pitch the ball to him, run a little safe pass, don't make a mistake, and gather back your composure.
They fake the deep draw. Murdoch drills it, and it's caught by Tony Jones. On the comeback, and it looked as though Alton Montgomery was set to make the interception. Jones took it away from him for a gain of 11.
Well, this is a nice play by Tony Jones. This is sure interception written all over it, but you're going to see Tony Jones step in front of Alton Montgomery. It looks like it's thrown right to Montgomery. Watch the path of Jones right here. Step right in front of him, and you can see Montgomery left just catching the wind. Nice play by Tony Jones.
Callaway wound up finishing him off. Draw play to Metcalf. Tries to get outside on the right. We'll have a couple, and then we'll get out of harm's way. Tuggle, one of a couple of kids on this Houston team who come from the Austin area, is the man who forced him out of bounds.
Don't you know that's a thrill for him to come back and play here in his hometown. Mom's here, dad's here, the whole family's here. And of course, he grew up watching this Texas football team, and now he's got the chance to play against them.
21-3 our score with 11:49 left until halftime. will take it inside the 35 to the 34. Price checks into the ball game. I believe, yep, number 21. We were told that didn't think he was going to play today, but he is lining up in the left corner right now, working against Tony Jones. Big third down play for the Longhorns. Pressure for the outside, over the middle to Metcalf, incomplete. Lamar Lathan was there on the coverage.
Look at Murdoch. He is upset. He walks out. Now, he's a fiery leader. They say he leads by example. He's very cool in there. Now, you'll see Lathan. He's playing across on the coverage here. Now, does he grab him right there? Oh, I don't know. Looks as if he's got his hand on him.
I think that was after the play, though.
Well, you can see Metcalf saying, look, see, he pulled my jersey. But the referee, or the official, I should say, was right there.
Callaway, the deep man, is Lil Jadal with the ball at the 34.5-yard line. Even with the wind, looking for the sideline of this one. Lobs it inside the 20, and it's going to go out of bounds into the vicinity of the 10. In fact, that's where they're going to mark it down. 24 yards in the kick, as the Cougars will have to scrimmage from their own 10-yard line. And let's go back and take a look at those musts one more time.
Well, the Miller Lite must say that Houston has to run its offense with confidence, and that's what they are starting to do. They're becoming much more confident in their receiving. They dropped a lot of balls to start. They have to eliminate turnovers. They have been the turnover-y, the receptor of the interception, and they have to disrupt that normal quarterback timing, and that's on Mark Murdoch, and they've accomplished that to a degree. But really, it's been capitalization on big breaks, that missed motion, and of course that somewhat tipped punt that went for a touchdown.
Where Phillips drops the ball at the 9-yard line. Mark Berry and Irish Lewis on the cover for Texas in the flat over there, but the ball incomplete. It'll bring up a second down and 10.
Ron, in this situation, you kind of get in between because you want to blitz to get pressure on the quarterback, but you realize if you don't get to him, and that's what they're showing there. When you come out of there, well, that's an offensive series, I should say, but when you don't get to him, you get burned. And Ware has got the weapons out there to burn you if you don't get him with the blitz.
Is down, pass incomplete. As he overthrew it, and from where it's thrown, I believe offensive holding is going to be called, as Oscar Giles was trying to pressure the quarterback, and that's where the marker came.
The decision here is to accept that penalty, but it would only be about a 5-yard penalty, or to take the play and bring up third down and 10.
Penalty is declined. Third down is what it will be. 21-3. Houston leading Texas. Student section for the Longhorns coming to their feet across the way. Paul Smith, the intended receiver. Bubba Jacks had the coverage, and on the incompletion, it'll be fourth down and punting time for the Cougars.
Well, Ron, we know that they had, I thought it was an 85-yard punt last time, but I understand officially they've only marked it a 63-yard punt for the fumble.
Yeah, if he did touch the ball, that's where it will be marked dead. Pressure up the middle, gets his kick away. Metcalf at the 45. Gets through a couple, winds up in Cougar territory at the 48. Houston says there's a fumble. And Houston Houston has recovered. Witherspoon has the football.
Oh boy. Let's look at this and let's watch when the fumble occurs, because I did not see the ball come out clean. Now what he's trying to do there is just trying to find a seam. Now he's just trying to get down. There's the ball. Never looks. I just didn't see the ball come out clearly. I perhaps missed it, Ron, but again, the official right there to call it. Let's take a quick look at that, see if we can look at, well, we've got to watch game action first, Ron. Maybe we'll get another peek at that.
Houston right back to the line of scrimmage. Ball is fumbled on the snap, scramble for it at the 46-yard line. Take a look at it. The ball is coming out right here, and the object is the knee. Does the knee go down? Nope, ball is out before the knee was down.
Good call.
Yep, Witherspoon wrestles the ball away from Metcalf. On the fumble, Houston recovered, and it is a second down and 12 as a scrimmage from their own 46-yard line. So Witherspoon proving that he is not only valuable on offense, but also on the special teams. Double pass into the middle, Dixon. Maybe the line of scrimmage, but that is it, as Lee Brotman comes in to make the first contact, and then Brett Hager. Here's the storyline of the ballgame so far.
Of course, it's been Phillips with that 11-yard touchdown catch and the 61-yard touchdown catch by Houston. And then Texas, of course, they fumbled 3 punts. Result, 2 touchdowns for Houston. They drove one in, of course, recovered that one in the end zone. That has been a big part of this scoring of 21 points by Houston. It's been great. Just great advantage once they get the football.
Let's take a timeout with 9 minutes, 27 seconds left until halftime. The Cougars leading by 18. We'll be right back. There you see the clock and the score. Houston with a third down and 12. Up the far sideline, and it is incomplete. Irish Lewis with the cover on the play, as Williams the intended receiver.
Ron, I thought Williams ran out of bounds on that play. If he wasn't, he was awfully close. Of course, you can't come back in once you run out of bounds. It looked as if he was out of bounds back in there.
Well, with the incompletion, don't have to worry about the decision.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Look right here again. Perhaps you can see. Well, you can't even see it on that angle, but I thought he was out of bounds. He must have been very close.
Rodriguez with the punt. Bearcats called for it. Did it go? Yes, it did. Inside the 2-yard line. 51 yards on the kick by Simon Rodriguez. And they're going to mark the ball out 1.5 yards in front of the Texas goal line.
Well, I don't know if you can punt any better than Simon Rodriguez did on that one. Ron, let's take another look at the Miller Lite mugs for Texas. They had to pressure the quarterback. They have not done that so far. They had to sustain drive, and that is a difficult thing for them. Use Metcalf even more. They have been effective when they've used him on that one drive, but they kind of got bogged down. But Texas has not done so far what they needed to do to win this football game.
Metcalf from his own end zone tries to find a spot to reverse against Johnny Jackson. Going to be pushed out of bounds by Jackson, very close to the first down.
I want to tell you, there are very few football players that can do what Eric Metcalf has just done, and that is deep in your own end zone. Look at this. He changes on about the 1-yard line, says, whoops, I'm going back this way.
Look at Murdoch just trying to get out of his way.
But what a nice play to get his team out of trouble. When I said use Eric Metcalf more, that's why you use Eric Metcalf more, because he is such an elusive runner.
Shasta looking on under the bright sunny skies of Austin, Texas this afternoon. Interesting shot right there. Shot's very accurate, though. So far, the Cougars have caged the Longhorns. Straight ahead on the first down drive is Darren Norris. He will have it as he comes out close to the 14-yard line.
Seems like more and more we say you know, this is a vital drive, or this is an important series. But really, for Texas, they have got to get out of their own territory with just under 9 minutes left. They don't want to give the ball back to Houston in their own field territory. So you've got to drive out and get 1 or 2 first downs, at least.
Kerry Cash in motion. Metcalf hit at the line of scrimmage. He'll bring it to the 15, but that's it as Warren and Keith Jenkins step right up into the hole and make the hit. No running room there. Clock running with these running plays, and as you see, we still have over 8 minutes to play until halftime. A ball game that has kind of rocked on ebb and flow like this. In the backfield, Metcalf gets by one, going to be hit again from behind. He's going to wind up with maybe a gain of 1 of the play. How, I don't know, as Warren comes from the backside to make the stop.
He has got to be someone that can gather his balance quicker and get his momentum going forward faster than anyone I've seen in a long while. He has the ability to get knocked off balance and gather his balance back and get back on track running. And that time he turned what should have been a 3-yard loss into about a 1-yard gain.
3rd down for Texas. Pressure, and he will be sacked. Jenkins again. His 2nd quarterback sack of the afternoon, way back at the 6-yard line.
Well, on a play like that, you have to get rid of the football. We talked about him not being a mobile quarterback back there. Now, when he sees this pressure right here and he avoids it, now throw the ball. Just throw it downfield 8-10 yards. Don't take a 12 to 15-yard sack, because now you're punting out of the back of your end zone. Just throw the ball away. You've got to get rid of it in that situation.
Kimball Anders, the deep man for the Cougars, as you look at Bobby Liljador. Hanging spiral into the wind. Anders loses the ball, and Texas recovers. Higgins at the 50-yard line.
And Ron, I want to take another look at this one, because I thought it went right through his hands and didn't touch him. The ball went through so quickly. Now watch here. Let's see if we can see it. I think it did touch him. The official was right there. But look the way the ball comes down.
Right on the end of the stringer. There you go.
Well, maybe that evens up. I think if Texas can score, and you don't want to even up, I know that, but it's a good break.
David McWilliams might, a difference between a touchdown and a 50-yard line, David McWilliams might argue with you about evening up.
Well, you don't try to even up football games. That's certainly true.
Norris, the safety valve, gets away from Lathan, and then is knocked down very hard at the 45-yard line. Alton Montgomery comes up from that safety spot. Really took Norris down at the 45. Charlie Cephas coming out of the ball game, and Chuck Johnson is coming in at offensive tackle for the Longhorns. Around the Southwest Conference today, Arkansas 3-0 over the Baylor Bears. That one in Waco. And that's it right now. Norris banged hard at the line of scrimmage. Vesey steps up from that right defensive end spot. Knocks him down after a gain of only 1. And it's going to be a 3rd down situation. And if Texas wants to keep this drive alive, they got to take it down inside the Houston 41.
And watch for Eric Metcalf to be involved in this play, because he is involved in about 40 to 50% of their offense. But a lot of that is on 3rd down, because he's such a sure-handed wide receiver out of the backfield plus running back. So he perhaps will be used in this situation.
Draw play to Metcalf. Turns it back up the middle. Vesey knocks him down. He's not going to have the first down. They're going to spot him down at the 42.
Boy, you talk about getting your feet back down on the ground quickly. You can't make cuts unless you make very short, quick steps. Now, they may go for this on 4th down, but watch the foot action here. Changed outside, sees the seam back inside. Good juking right there. Get those feet down and picks up everything he can. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Texas go in this situation. They've got to do something to spur up their offense.
Here they come to the line of scrimmage. Cougars leading 21-3, and on fourth down, straight ahead with the quarterback sneak. You just about credit that entire defensive front. Oglesby, I believe, the man at the bottom of the pile.
Well, that's a kind of a surprise move, because we talked about Murdoch not being a good running back, but Corson behind Allen Champagne and Soleil, his big guard and center, he felt they could blow him off the line and perhaps pick it up, but it's going to be awfully close, Ron.
You can see Ellison standing there at the line of scrimmage. Chris was saying that Texas did not make it. Stretch the change out, and first down, Longhorns. And I mean barely the nose of the football.
Well, an inch as good as a mile. They don't ask how much did you make it by, they ask whether you made it or not. But you get the feeling in this football game that Texas has got to come down and score on this drive to get the momentum going back in just before halftime. They want to be able to go in on a real positive offensive note.
See the clock running down, under 4.5 to play until halftime. Murdoch over the middle has Terry Cash, enough for the first down at the 30-yard line. Montgomery for the safety spot comes over quickly to make the tackle. Take another look at it from ground level.
And look, no pressure in Murdoch's face. That's when he's at his best. And he threads it right between two defenders into Terry Cash's hands. That's what Murdoch does best. Drop back 7 steps, set up, let his pocket form around him, and throw the football. He does not bail out of the pocket well when he's under pressure. A nice strike by Mark Murdoch.
About to go into 4 minutes. See if Montgomery comes on the blitz. He does. Draw play, hit in the backfield, and he will be knocked down as Norris cannot get back to the line of scrimmage. And Oglesby is the man who hit him, and you can see the blitz coming from the outside.
And that's the important thing. You can see the blitz coming. The quarterback has got to feel this, and he's got to be able to audibilize out. See, he has nowhere to go. He's set on that play. But Dave, well, go ahead, Ron.
I think possibly that could have been an audible with that play. The fact is, it didn't get the job done on the tackle. The blitz was coming from the outside.
But you called it. You can see the blitz, and you have to react to that quickly.
Murdoch on second down, over the middle, incomplete. Tony Jones, the intended receiver.
Well, we'll see Jones on this crossing pattern. The question is, did he get hit before the ball was there? You're going to see him right in the middle of your screen. Watch the football coming in there. No. Good play. Excellent play there by Johnny Jackson. Of course,
I think what the groan was about was after the play was over that Jones was spun down. I don't think there was any question about whether there was interference or not.
A lot of people throw away from Johnny Jackson because he is that good a cornerback.
Third down. Blitz is coming up the middle this time. Put it up high for Tony Jones. Just off his fingertips. Jones was there, and the ball just overthrown. Price was on the cover, but he was a step behind.
Oh, the difference between winning and losing is just a couple inches. And on this play, it's just off the fingertips of Tony Jones. Look how close it is to his fingertips. And watch the quarterback. You want to see what it's like? The difference? There, he knows he's got it. All of a sudden, oh, no, look how close it was. And you can see Murdoch reacting to that pass.
Field goal attempt coming up. This will be a 50-yard attempt for Wayne Clemens. As you saw in the graphic earlier on in the ballgame, his longest of the year is 55, but this one into a very stiff breeze. Kick is on the way. Wynn has got it, and it is not going to make it. It hits 5 yards into the end zone for the touchback, and buddy, that you could see the wind grab that thing and just knock it down like a big hand.
Yes, it took off, and then all of a sudden just died.
So let's take a break. 3 minutes, 4 seconds left until halftime, and our score remains Houston 21 at Texas 3. Ron Frankel along with Dave Rowe back at Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. Cougars don't have a first down this quarter, but they have not had to. They've taken advantage of everything.
Oh, they really have. Every break, and football games are a lot of times dependent upon breaks. Every break has gone the Cougars' way. They've capitalized on 2 of them for touchdowns. If they don't get that, this football game is wide open. I still think that Texas has a good shot in this football game to come back because they have surprised Houston with that good basic man-on-man coverage.
Cougars right now have 3:04 left until halftime, and of course, the way they can move the football, that is adequate time. Where on the option play? Witherspoon with a head down, has 5, has 10, brings into the open, caught from behind by Garza, and is finally stopped out at the 35-yard line of Texas.
Well, this little guy runs like something you don't see very often. It's got to be a pleasure for a coach to watch him. He is all movement. See the direction change right there. He's got a very low center of balance, and he just sort of rambles, picks up a couple blockers, and just kind of rambles for those big yards. Coming into this game, Ron, he's averaging 8.7 yards per carry, and every team says, oh, it can't be that good. Can't be that good, but every game he's averaging 8.7.
Where with the no-huddle offense, gives it to Witherspoon again, breaks it up the middle, and he will have 10 yards more. 31 yards in the previous play, 10 on this one, and Bobby Duncombe makes the tackle. They're going to say 12 yards on the carry.
Well, he just bursts up here. Texas is thinking run. And once he gets his balance right there and he gets his shoulders squared up, you can see an arm tackle's not going to bring him down. They just caught his foot, or else he rambles for another 5 or 10 yards.
Texas makes a couple of changes at defensive tackle as they get Patton back in the ball game, trying to shore up the running situation. Pass for the end zone. It is touchdown, Brian Williams. Well, I talked about how much time they needed or didn't need. They did not even use a minute on the drive, and the Cougars are up 27-3.
Well, we talk again about the explosiveness of this run-and-shoot offense. They can score anywhere. They get 2 big runs by Spoon, they call them here in Houston. And all of a sudden, they burst down there. Then when you're thinking running play, they're going to try to control the ball. They come back and throw that fly pattern. And when you're in man-on-man coverage, the reason that James Dixon and Jason Phillips have got 60 to 70 catches apiece is because they are great one-on-one ball players.
Extra point attempt by Roman Anderson is good. Let's take another look at it.
This is just a fly pattern. In other words, he just takes off from the line, just flies downfield, looks underneath the football, and this time it's Brian Williams with a great catch. Here again, no pressure on Ware. Once you have a defense down, you can do things like this, and Brian Williams just on this fly pattern downfield just catches it right in stride.
So let's take a break as you take a look at Brian Williams, who has just tallied 7 more for the Cougars, and they are up by 25. 41 seconds. That's how long the drive lasted, 67 yards. Ware throwing the 25-yard touchdown pass to Williams. As Adams is about to kick it off, 28-3. The Cougars leading with 2:23 showing on the scoreboard clock until halftime. One out of the back of the end zone, so the Longhorns will be 80 yards away with just over 2 minutes. And on the Apple scoreboard, Notre Dame rolling over Rice in the 3rd period. West Virginia, a little bit closer contest than most had expected against Cincinnati.
It certainly is true. And Southern Mississippi losing to Auburn in the 1st period, 14-0. Nebraska and Iowa State. Nebraska ranked 7th in the polls. 0-0 in the 1st.
And Arkansas and Baylor, as the Razorbacks have just scored a touchdown as they lead 9-0. That one in that opening period at Waco. Murdoch dumps the pass off. That's Deion Cockrell at the 30, 35, at the 40, and then is knocked down very hard at the 42 by Montgomery. So Deion Cockrell, who is a sophomore out of San Antonio, coming into the ball game, as you see trainer Tom Wilson working on the tape job on Ware on the sideline. Possibly trying to tighten that thing up just a little bit, Dave.
Well, we saw him sprain his ankle earlier. Surprising that they do it with 2 minutes left. They don't just go in and retape it in the locker room.
Murdoch to throw again. Metcalf on the sideline. Jackson is right there to see that he doesn't turn it upfield.
A little surprise here by Houston to play this prevent so early. They played very well in their coverage. Talk about to being an excellent defense, but they're dropping 3 men about 18 to 20 yards off the line trying to play a prevent, and that's a good time to attack that prevent. You throw underneath like Murdoch has done with success.
1:58 left until halftime. Murdoch going to scramble out of the pocket, hit from behind, and he'll pick up a couple, but that's it as Craig Veazey knocks him down. They'll spot it just across the 46. And now Texas wants a timeout with 1:43 showing until halftime.
Well, that's a smart call by Murdoch to come over here and call timeout. His team is down. It's down considerably, 28-3, but he has time to score, perhaps get back in this football game. They need that positive note to go in before half.
Murdoch talking with John Mize, the offensive coordinator, on the near sideline. Here's something we'd like to remind you of that's coming up. Dave Rose All-Southwest Conference team is going to be announced on the 19th, a couple of Saturdays from now during that TCU Texas A&M game.
And I can tell you, you don't have to be the best player to be on that team. You just got to show me something. I've got a lot of candidates, so we've seen some just outstanding play. But what's that? Hey, wait a minute now. Okay. They tricked me on that one. I thought it was snowing here in Austin.
Boy, a beautiful day in the Hill Country. Cloudless, high blue skies, temperature only supposed to reach about 80 degrees today. Jackson creeping up at the line of scrimmage, and he is coming on the blitz. Murdoch puts it up, going for Tony Jones, and it is intercepted by the Houston Cougars, and that is Cornelius Price, who took it away from him on a fine defensive play, and the Cougars stopped the drive.
Number 21, Derek Price, intercepting.
If you want to play cornerback, Ron, you have got to play one-on-one coverage, and Price plays this as well as you can play it. He's running stride for stride. There's no one to help him, and he just catches that ball on the edge of his fingertips. For Price, that's an excellent play. He's playing one-on-one. You see no one out here? He's all by himself. The ball just happened to come down to him.
Jones had inside position on him. The ball just a tad overthrown, and Price took it right away from him. So the Cougars now with 1:36 showing until halftime and already leading 28-3, get the football back.
I don't know that Cougars know how to run out the clock, so they may try to score again.
I don't think that play is in their offensive book. Shovel pass to Dixon. Gets by one tackler. Stanley Richard will push him out of bounds. And Stanley Richard pushed him down a little bit late. No flag has come into the fray. Little frustration on Richard's part there.
Well, now if you're a defensive player like me, you say, well, he just helped them down. But he helped them down in a hurry. You want to play with aggression. That's the way we used to play football. Foam at the mouth and get ready, right, Ron?
90 seconds showing on the stadium clock as Ware walks around making sure that everybody gets the call. Zings it in the flat, incomplete, looking for Dixon.
That pass intended for number 22, James Dixon, incomplete.
If Ware has time to look up on that play,
Kevin Mason.
Yeah,
like
you
the
saw
first
what
guy
I
out
saw.
to practice.
You saw what I saw. Kevin Mason did the old down and out and up. He came down on the play and made an out move, and the cornerback bid on it, and then he turned it up, and ouch. They may say to Ware, run that same play and look up for Kevin Mason.
Third down. Witherspoon up the middle, has the first down and more as he brings it at the 35, at the 40, and he's all the way out to the 44. Those are not boos you're hearing. That is Spoon from across the way from the Houston Partisans.
Well, I can tell you from a defensive standpoint, he's a tough person to tackle. Low center of gravity, and he just disappears on you. Look at the hip action to cut back, sets up a couple blocks, just rips up through there and just gets them. Now they're in almost scoring position. They're near midfield.
Ware on first down over the middle. Ball is tipped, goes incomplete. Dixon was the man they were looking for over the middle. Lee Brockman, I believe, out of Hereford, Texas, is the one who got a hand up and tipped it.
Good hand there by Brockman. Now what you want to do is everybody reacts quickly to the football.
Also, you don't want to be a receiver over the middle because it means all pass interference is off and you can get your head taken right off.
You can get the free shots.
With that, we're under 1 minute to play as Stanley Richard from his safety position comes over to make the tackle.
Boy, there's our lethal weapons. Look at Weatherspoon, averaging 11 yards per carry in this game. That's up from his paltry little 8.9 coming into the game.
And the Houston Cougars want a timeout to stop the clock since he did not get out of bounds. They have a third down situation at 46 seconds left until halftime. Like to remind you, the Arkansas Razorbacks will be the host team in the Mobile Cotton Bowl Classic. If you'd like ticket information for the January 2nd, 1989 game, call area code 214-638-2695, Monday through Friday. And as of yesterday, Dave Rowe, this game was just about a sellout. Great job by Jim Brock, Rick Baker, Mike Justice, and all of the folks at the Mobile Cotton Bowl.
Well, there have been some great teams mentioned as that matchup with Arkansas being the host team. There have been a lot of teams that have been mentioned, and they've been right up there in the national standings.
28-3 our score with 46 seconds in this second period. Two ball clubs that throw it as much as these, and coming in we thought we were looking at probably a 4-hour ball game, and I don't think we're going to be too far off on that day.
I don't think we'll be disappointed. Now what Texas wants to do here, Ron, is they don't want to get burned and try and stop this short third down. They don't want to have that fly pattern for a touchdown. That's what they have to guard against. They're already decided they're going to go in man to coverage and try to stop that third down play.
That's Phillips who resets in the lower part of your screen. Ware looking for the fly pattern, dumps it off. Phillips at the 42, trying to get out of bounds and cut from behind, and he will to stop the clock at 37 seconds, and he is down to the 31-yard line as Garza comes over to make the stop.
And I thought I saw Stanley Richards slip down on the play. There he was. He was in the back there, slipped down on the play. He had Phillips on that play all the way. Perhaps we can see him again slip down here when he makes the cut back inside, stops and comes back. There's the coverage. Stanley Richards just stops and just slid on the turf. Then Phillips does a smart thing to get out of bounds and stop that clock.
Houston Cougars looking for another 7 points as they're up by 25, and they have it first down at the Longhorn 31. Throwback screen. Complete. Phillips caught by the ankles and tripped up by Bierman as he goes inside the 25 to the 24.
Boy, if Bierman doesn't catch him on that play, he goes for a score. Bierman laying flat on the ground, reached up and grabbed his ankles. Nice play by Paul Bierman, 22. You'll see it. It's a throwback. Now he picks up the screen wall right there. Now watch Bierman, 22 over here. Just reaches up and grabs the foot in there to bring him down.
So 24 ticks left on the clock. The Cougars have called a timeout. We'll hold it right here. That was Lee Brockman also, who was coming in from the inside, trying to close off and reached up and grabbed an ankle. Phillips very close to breaking in on that one also. Cougars have a second down. Need about 4. Of course, the clock becomes such a huge factor here.
But Houston, you can run.
No, it's not. That's right. That's a ridiculous statement. It's never a factor, I think, with these guys.
I think you're right. And David McWilliams knows that. He says he looks up there and sees 24 seconds and says, gosh, that's 2 running plays for most teams, or it's 6 passes for Houston.
Jason Phillips, with that last reception, has just broken the conference record. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. He needed that to surpass Tolbert. Pass is incomplete. Dixon, the intended receiver, at the 10-yard line. Stanley Richard was the man who came over the top to knock it down. Emmanuel Tolbert was the old record holder out of Southern Methodist. And there he is, Jason Phillips.
I can tell you that's elite company. 172 receptions. That's elite in any conference, let alone the Southwest Conference.
You know, Dave, 2 weeks in a row that we've seen conference records go by the boards that have been decently long-standing. I think Tolbert's was back in 1977, but that still was very high, particularly for what had been a running conference. Ware over the middle has Phillips. Touchdown. Paul Beerman tried to make the cover, and Phillips cut right beside him at the 1-yard line, and with 14 seconds left to play in this opening half, it is 34-3 as the Cougars have scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes.
Well, we talked about 25 seconds being on the clock, and how with Houston that's a long time. They score with 14 seconds left. That shows you how quickly they can score. They can hit from any part on the field. If they get man-on-man coverage, you have to give up something to play man-on-man coverage to get that blitz, and that's what you give up. You give up the long pass if he gets time. Again, you'll see Phillips going to the corner. See how quickly the quarterback sets up? Acceleration, speed, that's the name of the game. Not bad coverage. And that Beerman is right with him. He's running step for step, but Phillips, to watch him here, come off the line, makes a little in-fake and back out to the corner. Just a very well-thrown football. And Phillips, he's been in that end zone enough. He knows what to do with that football.
35-3 the score with 14 seconds left. Phillips now 7 receptions for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. What do we got on Ware today? Ware already has thrown 30 passes, Dave, for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And he had at least 5 or 6 drop passes in that first one. Seemed like they had the jitters and were playing dropsy that first quarter, but they have gotten that confidence back in their offense, Ron, and they're running it just like a well-tuned violin.
Only 1 minute 22 seconds on that drive. 9 plays, and it all started back at the 8-yard line. And a gentleman by the name of Weatherspoon is the one who set it up to bring it into good field position at midfield as the ball blows off the tee.
They're going to have to hold the football.
Yep, Perry's going to come in and put a finger on it.
Well, Ron, I think the wind has picked up a little bit. Those flags are blowing. You can see the shirt blowing on Perry there. The wind is getting a lot more active. As you said, it was going to increase as the game went on.
Here comes Adams with a kickoff. 14 seconds left in this first half. This one's going to go out of the back of the end zone. Longhorns will take it over at the 20-yard line. Crowd expected today between 68 and 70,000 people with tickets that were sold. And for the most part, they are sitting in silence as the Houston Cougar offense has silenced that. And I shouldn't leave out the defense with the job that they have done.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. This Houston defense has been very much overshadowed by a great offense. Everybody talks about Phillips, Dixon, Andre Ware, the great scoring, but they have a good defense, just an excellent defense.
Metcalf tries to reverse his field, knocked out after a gain of 1. Ball was knocked out after the play was dead as Keith Jenkins makes the stop, and mercifully the clock shows double zeros. It is halftime with our score: Houston 35 and Texas 3. Clemens with his right hand over his head. The left footer is ready, and this one is underway in the second half. This is going to come down to Dixon. Fumbles the ball. Will go down on one knee. And and a touchback has been called. So the Cougars will scrimmage for their own 20-yard line, opening the second half. And let's look and see who is it going to be at quarterback. Once again, number 11, Andre Ware, the sophomore out of Dickinson, Texas. Checking down on the field, we see Phillips, Dixon, Brian Williams, same group of receivers that opened the afternoon for the University of Houston on offense. Defensively, it appears to be the same group that opened for the University of Texas, with the exception of Bubba Jacks, who was at left cornerback. Outside pressure, ball is intercepted by Jacks. Down the far sideline at the 10, at the 5, and he steps out of bounds at the 4.
That is how momentum can change.
Take a look at it. Watch how Ware gets collapsed on as the blitz coming from the outside.
There's the interception going down the sideline. That's Bubba Jacks, who was just standing there. That's what you have to do. I was going to call that blitz up on the line because there were 8 guys, almost 9 guys up on the line of scrimmage. And that's what David McWilliams said they had to do. They had to blitz them. They had to get pressure on them. And boy, they can quick. If you're 8 seconds into the second half and you're sitting on the 5-yard line, wouch.
Power eye set to the right. Pitch goes to Metcalf. Turns the corner, and he will score. A marker is down on the near side of the field. And they are going to call illegal procedure against the University of Texas. Good heavens.
Boy, when it rains, it pours.
Well, particularly that call, procedure.
Well, it was all the way across the field. The far sideline judge threw the flag. What might have been, Ron, might have been. I'm just speculating when I say this. Oh, they're calling. Is that an ineligible? Well, it can't be an ineligible. Wait a minute.
Or 6 men at the line of scrimmage.
That's what
we'll wait and get his call.
I think they may not have had enough men on the line of scrimmage.
But in a power I set, you got 2 tight ends. So I think we could eliminate that. Discussion continues.
I think he called illegal participation. I believe that's what the call was. Now that's a 15-yard penalty. Wait a minute. Oh boy, that'll make a quarterback's stomach just grind like there is no tomorrow. And it'll make a coach's stomach grind like there's no tomorrow. I believe that's what he called, Ron, illegal participation.
12 men on the field, obviously. First down for the 20-yard line. Murdoch drills the pass, incomplete. Looking for Keith Cash on a post route as Price was the cover man.
Number 11. Incomplete. Derek Price, number 21, defending.
Ron, I just got word, I believe, that a lineman may have come in as a tight end and not reported. I think that may be the call. Someone just mentioned that to me, so that may be the illegal participation.
Avalaya's on the sideline. We'll try to get a clarification. Pass overthrown, looking for Tony Jones, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down situation.
David Palmer of Orange, Texas, reports to the stadium office. David Palmer, Orange, Texas, reports to the stadium office.
Third down for the Longhorns from the 19-yard line. Metcalf in motion to the open side of the field. Murdoch intercepted by Johnny Jackson up the far sideline, and he's got 1 man to beat. Caught from behind and tackled at the 48-yard line.
was just going to say, this is the best move I've seen Murdoch under pressure. Move out of the pocket, set back up, find his wide receiver, but Jackson. That's why a lot of people throw away from Jackson. He returned 3 last year. He's got 2 today, but he has a great key. He has great keys on the quarterback. He steps right in front of the wide receiver, catches the ball in stride, and turns what could have been a touchdown right around, and now it's Houston's ball at midfield.
6 turnovers on the day for the Texas Longhorns. 2 interceptions now by Jackson. Ware stumbles, loses the football, and Texas has recovered. Dwayne Duckham comes up with the fumble recovery.
Ware just never seemed to have the handle on that football. It just slipped out of his hands from the center exchange.
I could challenge this as a conference record. That's 3 turnovers in 35 seconds.
I think you may be right. There's the turnover situation. 6 for Texas, 3 for Houston. That's enough turnovers for a season. 9 turnovers.
Pitch to Metcalf. Looks for some place to run and is belted out of bounds hard at the 40-yard line. Darren Warren, one of the first men to get there, along with Callaway for the cornerback spot.
Metcalf turns a run that's going nowhere into a gainer.
The illegal participation thing, we got clarification from the liaison down on the sideline. And it was a lineman who lined up at tight end and did not report. That's the reason for the penalty.
Of course, that's the ineligible number at tight end, which would be he would have to report because he would be eligible to go downfield for a pass.
Metcalf back against the grain, falls down at the 36. Also, Kevin Tuggle, number 27, coming up to put the stopper on him.
It's going to be close to a first down. In fact, now, Ron, they are signaling first down.
Metcalf today, as the Cougars have shadowed him and shadowed him well. 20 attempts, 73 yards. 35-3 our score. Houston leads. Incomplete, looking for Nelson. Down at the 15-yard line. Jackson again on the coverage.
Boy, a lot of pressure on Murdoch that time. They're really teeing off and getting to him, but Murdoch's pretty cool in there. He stays under pressure. Right here, you can see as soon as he lets go of the ball, there's a hit from that side. There's another one right in his face. And that was just barely missed by Kevin Nelson, the wide receiver.
T. Jenkins, number 64, already has 2 sacks in the ball game today. The senior out of New Orleans done a really good job for the Cougar defense. Look at him coming up to the line of scrimmage. Is it blitz? Yes, it is. Flags all over the place. As Houston had gone to man coverage in the secondary, and they were coming with the blitz.
That one looked like the old one where you just missed the snap count if you're the center. Everybody went on one, and the center said, I'm going to snap it on 2.
Murdoch has now missed his last 6 pass attempts today.
Well, I can tell you from a defensive standpoint, this is what defensive linemen love. You tee off, you just go in there, you don't worry about a run. Puts a lot more pressure on the offensive line and a lot more pressure on the quarterback.
2nd and 15 from the 41. Metcalf with a deep draw. Tries to get outside on the right. Squirms past a couple. They'll bring it down to the 35. Jackson, one of the first men there, along with Glenn Montgomery.
What a week that young man had last week. 156 yards rushing in that Texas Tech game. Eric Metcalf was Mr. Everything last week, but this week he's attracting so much attention, he just can't get free.
3rd down and 9. The ball, but it hit the ground as he was tackled, and the play will be whistled dead at the 45-yard line as Darren Warren was coming from the backside, and you can see on this replay also Jenkins was in the vicinity.
Murdoch doesn't even see the backside pressure. You'll see it from the right of your screen. There's Warren, 97. They just bury him on that play.
Kimball Anders, the deep man for the Houston Cougars on the return team as Bobby Liljadal waits for the snap at the 40-yard line. Off the side of his foot as he was trying for a pooch kick, and it's going to come out of bounds way upfield at around the 22-yard line. Now that they're going to push him back to the 19.
Going out of bounds. About the 19-yard line.
So we're going to take a break. 12 minutes, 21 seconds left to play third period. It's Houston 35 and Texas 3. We'll be right back. Cougars back on offense, and they finally spotted the punt at around the 19-yard line. 12:21 to play, third period. As he got decked from Dwayne Duncombe, coming from his right outside linebacking position. Apple Roundup, we got one score to let you know about. Georgia winning big over Florida, 26-3. That one is final.
Well, I'm sure if you're a Texas fan, the first thing you say is, how come they didn't do that in the first half? Why didn't they blitz that strong? A lot of things have changed. The lead has changed. Of course, you can take a little bit more chance, but you've got to put pressure on Andre Ware. You can't allow him to get those receivers one-on-one downfield 15, 20 yards.
Ware under pressure, and it's Dwayne Duncombe again who will sack it. Loss of 9 on the play.
You'll see Duncombe just burst up the middle. He comes on the inside. He's an outside linebacker, and all of a sudden just comes up inside the line. The tackle, they use the Craig Veazey go outside. Excuse me, that's not Craig Veazey, that's Oscar Giles they use outside. But Dwayne Duncombe blitz up inside, get that pressure. And now they are disrupting the quarterback.
Brian Williams is the man to the bottom of your screen. Paul Smith at the top as the Cougars, with every offensive set spread out all over the field. Throwback screen over the middle. Kimball Anders breaks the tackle 15 at the 20, and then is knocked down by Mark Berry, who comes up and takes his ankles out from under him. Good gain of the play, but it'll still leave about 10 yards for the first down, and the Cougars will have to punt. Well, Houston throws to so many people, it's almost like you think there are not enough defensive folks to cover what they try to do, and not try to do what they do very successfully. Metcalf on the run. The ball get by him as he looked up into the sun. You saw him draw his hand down. He didn't want a reoccurrence of that. And it's going to be blown dead just across the 41. It's a 38-yard kick. Here's the remaining schedule on Raycom. Next week will be in Fort Worth at Amon Carter, Texas against TCU. Then the Horned Frogs on the 19th travel to College Station to take on the Aggies. And then the season will be completed with Rice against Houston. That one at the Astrodome.
And on that 19th is when I pick my all-Southwest Conference team. Again, you don't have to be great, but it helps. I think we've got a lot of candidates here today, don't we, Deron?
Yeah, that's for sure. Murdoch over the middle to Metcalf. Down at the 50-yard line. And Dave, right there is a good example. And of course, the Cougars that time in a zone defense, but there were 3 red headgears. The minute he caught the ball, you can have a big S on your chest, and it doesn't matter. It's 3-to-1 odds are not good.
Well, there's one thing that Jack Pardee had to do when he got to Houston. He had to get some semblance of offense and defense. The offense came very quickly. They started to gel with the last 3 or 4 games of last season. But I think the big surprise for Houston is how well their defense has played. You look at their down linemen, and they have played as well as any down lineman in the Southwest Conference.
Metcalf on the pitch. Tries to turn the corner, can't get it done. It's no gain, and it's going to be a 3rd down.
Ron, I can't remember the last time I saw a defensive lineman like Alfred Oglesby leading the team in tackles. And that's a down lineman.
That's a good point. Lathan right there helping out on the stop along with Burnett. Both of them have had really good ball games today also. But you're right, Oglesby, of course, that Arkansas game vaulted him way up there when he had 20-plus tackles against the Razorbacks.
Certainly did, but their down linebacker, Jenkins, I thought Montgomery has played as well as anybody up in that front line. And Vesey getting that outside pressure.
Quick out pass, thrown complete. Johnny Walker wrapped up immediately by Jackson. He will have the first down.
Boy, this is a dangerous pass when you have fast cornerbacks. It's a long pass for 3 yards. It's a quick out pattern. You can see it's coming just right in your camera there, but Jackson makes a nice catch.
Virtually that same pattern is what Jackson came up with one of his touchdown returns last year against Texas. And the point that you make is one that where a defensive back plays is important, but his closing speed is what you got to understand.
That's what everybody says.
And Jackson is so very quick. Metcalf loses the ball. Had a convoy in front, but I'll tell you what, it was broken down when Johnny Walker lost his block and Callaway came up and made the tackle. And Metcalf shaken up a little bit.
He is. He's going to try to
watch
skip
at the top of the screen. As you see, the blockers in front are in good shape. But out here, Johnny Walker just lost his block, and Callaway comes up, takes him down.
Of course, you saw how quickly the football got out of there. But the flag is going to negate all that play because it was against Houston.
So the penalty, as Dave said, face masking, taking it down to the 38-yard line. And it is going to be a first down at 5. Paid attendance today, 69,600. Jackson showing blitz, and here he comes. Give us to Metcalf. Breaks it on the right side at the 26-yard line. And I think Alton Montgomery got a hand underneath on the tackle and injured himself as he went down immediately. Gain of 13 yards, and with Jackson on the blitz, that left that corridor open.
Certainly did. It was a right play for this blitz because once you break through the line right there, once Metcalf's through there, he's got clear sailing. Now he tries to get outside. Watch Alton Montgomery come in here late and fall on that right arm. You can see how quickly he grabbed his right arm when he rolled on past the play.
I want to remind our viewers that David, I'll be selecting the Coors Player of the Game at the conclusion of this contest, so stay with us on that. Alton Montgomery, the sophomore junior college transfer out of Griffin, Georgia, appears to be okay. May have just gotten a stinger on that arm or on the shoulder. 35-3 with 9 minutes to play in the third period. Houston leading Texas. Draw play. Cockrell inside the 25 down to around the 24.
The ball carrier.
Oglesby again. They're going to say it's a gain of a couple. Undoubtedly, Montgomery got to the sideline. It's Alton Montgomery. Convinced the coaches he was okay. He's back out on the field.
A lot of times when you're in a game like this and you know they're going to throw the football, if you're a defensive back, you don't want to get out of the football game because you know you're going to have a lot of opportunities to get interceptions and possibly look good on those films that come up Monday morning.
Blitz coming outside left. Look in pass. Incomplete. As Murdoch had to deliver it in a heck of a hurry for Keith Cash. But he had real pressure from his right.
Ron, what those wide receivers have got to do on that play to help Murdoch is when they see that blitz, when they see those cornerbacks running in there, they've got to cut that pattern instead of 9 to 12 yards. They've got to cut it off at about 5 to 7 quickly to help your quarterback out. You've got to have some escape for him to find. And right now, every time he throws the football, his seat is on the ground. He does not get to see a completion or a missed pass.
Third down and 8. Murdoch dumps it off of the screen. Cockrell at the 15, at the 10. It's going to be a first and goal. Texas inside the 10. Alton Montgomery made the tackle.
You'll see this pass goes underneath. There's Cockrell right there in your screen, 33. Just a little slip screen. Good call by Murdoch. Let's avoid the pressure. What this does is it gives you that little quick outlet so you can avoid that pressure, get rid of the ball, and not take a shot.
Ball is marked down just outside the 6-yard line. This is the way the second half started, with Texas getting the football back, and then they turned it over. Blitz again, pitch to Metcalf, left side, and he's run out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Darren Warren is the man who caused the play to go outside and out of bounds. Also, Oglesby was over there as Charles Cephas was trying to block it. He just simply couldn't handle his man.
Well, it's tough on that play because he's got containment. He comes up and he forces the running back deep, and you've got to go around that man before you can get upfield. That's a tough play for a running back to make, and he still made 1 or 2 yards on the play.
Second down, Longhorns. Goal to go just outside the 6. Cockrell right up the middle, and he scores.
If you remember one of my comments when we were talking about what would David McWilliams do at halftime and what would he say, you can't change your game plan drastically. You have to go out and try to control the football. They blitzed and put pressure on Houston. They've just driven the field and made a nice drive, and this is for respectability. Now you're trying to get back in the football game. Now, if you can stop Houston again, there's no telling what might happen. There's a lot of time left, 7 minutes and 30 seconds left, or 7:28 in this third quarter, Ron.
Play coming in for the bench, and with the margin at 35-9, the Longhorns will go for 2.
Now, would you call me the optimist?
Alton Montgomery showing blitz to the outside. Here he comes. Scrambling, throws the ball, incomplete. Nobody home. Take another look at the touchdown as the 2-point conversion goes awry, and Mark Murdoch just had to throw it away.
And if you can get the split up in the middle here, and you see the split up in the middle.
Dwayne Miller with a really good block on Oglesby, driving him out of the hole. So it's 35-9, and we're going to take a break. 7 minutes, 38 seconds left in this third period. We'll be right back. 35-9 our score. Just about the midpoint of the third period. And again, Wayne Clemens having to use the aid of a holder, as did Adams for the University of Houston every time they have tried to kick with the wind. This is Dixon, 4 yards deep, wants to come out, and his teammate says, let's go down on one knee. Paul Smith giving directions on the play. 48 yards, 3 minutes, 10 seconds. Cockrell on the 6-yard touchdown, his second of the year.
Now that's what you normally see, a 9-play drive, 3 minutes or so, not 40, 30, 40 seconds. But I'm surprised that Houston has not responded better to block that pressure and change their offense scheme a little bit to get that pressure off of Ware and dump that ball off a little quicker, because Texas has blitzed him 4 or 5 times in the last 2 series. They have blitzed, dunked him right up through the middle and putting a lot of pressure on him.
Texas again with 7 men at the line of scrimmage. 4 of them in that up position, as you can see. Ware throws the ball, tipped and incomplete. It is Warren Bolden who got a hand up and tipped the pass just as it was thrown. Apple Roundup. Here are some other scores we update you on. Notre Dame, that one's now final. They won over Rice by 43. West Virginia now having their own way against Cincinnati.
And Auburn 31-0 over Southern Mississippi at half. Nebraska 31-0 over Iowa at half.
Arkansas leading over Baylor by 16, and Alabama is forged in front 12-0 over LSU. Running play, Weatherspoon, big opening at the 35, at the 40. It's a foot race. Mark Berry is after him, and he will make the tackle inside the 25-yard line. Every time Texas, as we'll watch it again, has come up in a blitz situation, this is what the Cougars have countered with. And you see Patton on the ground, Hager on the ground, and a big, long opening for Weatherspoon. 59 yards in this carry, Dave.
Everybody says he's got a 9-yard average coming into this football game. You say you can't do that. But he's running better than 9 yards per carry now. But it's all set up. Well, how about 16.5 yards per carry? But it's all set up, Ron, by the blitz action.
Pass thrown into the middle on the shovel pass to Anders, incomplete. You know, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first down for the Cougars in the second half, though, isn't it? And it's a 59-yard play that they do it on.
Well, of course, when you blitz, what happens is you take the middle linebacker out of the play. You bring him up on a line, and if you break and get a seam, he jumps automatically into the secondary as we look at the Apple Roundup here.
A&M and Louisiana Tech just getting started. Tech leading TCU 3-0. That one in the first period. Our score 35-9. Houston leading 7:10 to play third period. Pressure on Ware, drills the ball, touchdown Phillips. Ware put it on the dime, and he was under pressure being sandwiched and still got it away perfectly.
Well, this one will go down as a touchdown, but Ware, as you said, Ron, completely just out of balance, just falling back on his back foot. No form passing on that play, under a lot of pressure by the Texas defensive line to put pressure on him, and he just threw that ball up and let Phillips run underneath it. His third touchdown today.
8 receptions, 127 yards as Roman Anderson tries to add the 42nd point for the Cougars. His kick is perfect. Here's a replay, and watch the pressure that quarterback Andre Ware is under.
Now, every quarterback likes to step forward, but watch this. You'll see he's backing up. That's all arms. See that? No feet up in the air, just kind of a desperation pass, but just catches Phillips just right in the, just perfect. You can't do it any better than that.
So we'll take a break with 7:05 to play third period, and the Cougars 42-9. We'll be right back. Cougars by that margin right there. Ware now, you got some numbers for me?
Ware, 5 touchdown passes. We're running out of paper on Andre Ware, but he's 14 of 36, 236 yards, 5 touchdown passes. And we still have a half of the third quarter left and all the fourth quarter.
Andre Ware, he's only a sophomore. He's out of Dickinson, Texas. Here's Adams with the kick. Boy, that wind is really holding this one up. Catch made by Kerry Cash, comes out across the 35 to the 36.
He is now on the 35.
Take a look at the scoring drive, and to accentuate what we talked about at halftime, Cougars needed only 33 seconds in 4 plays on that one.
Well, if the Cougars are doing one thing wrong, it's ball control. They just have not been able to run the clock down. But when you talk about their long drive being 2.5 minutes, that's just quite a display. I mean, they can hit from any place on the field. They can score, and they just run the ball, no huddle, just no clock, just up they go, up and down the field.
Metcalf tries to get outside on the right. Going to wind up picking up a couple of very tough yards. As you see Ellison coming up from that free safety position. Also Keith Jenkins was out there.
Oh, and that's a good play by a defensive lineman. I can tell you when they watch the films on Monday, the first thing they look for is they look for those defensive linemen that are able to run that 18 to 20 yards out and stay in front of that ball player, that ball carrier, and make that tackle. And that's the type of player that Keith Jenkins is.
The 38. Second down.
Double slot formation this time for the Longhorns. Up, going to go long for Tony Jones, and incomplete. Nope, checking it was 32, Kevin Nelson. I beg your pardon. Callaway is the man trying to cover on the play. Murdoch made the pump and then trying to get the cornerback to bite on that one through the up. And that stops the clock with 6:14 to play in this third period. Shaster's smiling.
That was a smile? I think she's saying, don't mess with our Cougars.
Third down for Texas. Backside pressure again as the marker goes down. Pass thrown incomplete. Tony Jones, the intended receiver. Darren Warren applying pressure and offensive holding, I feel sure, from where that one was thrown. But Cougars won't have to take it because that'll bring up a 4th down situation.
Well, you don't stand too close to the coach when you're down like this, do you? He just kind of wanders around by himself out there. There they're talking, of course, over the option there with Keith Jenkins. They accept the penalty. It'll be back inside the 30. If they decline it, it'll be 4th down. I think they should decline it on this and take the punt.
Bobby Liljegdahl comes on to punt for the Longhorns. Averaging over 45 per boot. In fact, his first 2 kicks today were 60 and 62. This one off the side of his foot again. He wasn't even trying to boot kick this one. And that ball is going to be marked down. Let's see, they're still walking forward at the 37, at the 38. And that's where they have marked it, around the 39-yard line. What is that about? Sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't. And I don't think anything has gone right for Texas today, has it?
No, it certainly hasn't. This game has just really turned against them. Every break that's happening is going in Houston's favor.
23 yards on that kick. So the Cougars get the ball rather than in poor field position. With Liljegdahl punting with the wind, they're going to get it in very good field position, almost the 40-yard line.
Ball boy.
Throwback screen, complete at the 35. Breaking it is Dixon at midfield, inside the 40, and he's down to the Texas 39-yard line.
And Ron, I know there are fans out there saying, well, Ware's got 5 touchdown passes. What can possibly be the record? The record is 6 touchdowns by Gary Kubiak, so he's got a good shot at that still.
Kubiak, of course, of Texas A&M, played at St. Pius High School down in Houston, and that came against the Rice Owls. That was in 1981. Ware over the middle, drills it wide open inside the 25, still on his feet, and it's another 1st down for the Houston Cougars as Patrick Cooper, the sophomore out of Dallas, on the receiving end of that one.
See Ware here, of course, nice pocket pass, finds his man. He doesn't have to run on that one as far as running out of the pocket. But hurry up offense, they're right back over the ball. That's what happens. They get so quick. They get so many different plays. It's just amazing the number of plays that they can run.
Ware drills it complete to Cooper. Bierman is right there to make the stop. And that's going to be, I think, a gain of 1. Nope, no gain. They're going to put it back down at the 20. Bierman comes out. Bubba Jacks goes into the secondary for Texas. Under 5 minutes to play in this 3rd period. Looking for Phillips over the middle, and it's knocked away by Mark Berry. Jackson Phillips with a conversation after that play was over.
Well, Phillips was running a crossing pattern, and Jacks came back and hit him. You can see this. Now watch the tail end of this. See the ball there. Now watch Jacks. He just kind of gave a shot. Phillips gave a little shot back. They just kind of had a few words there. That's not going to hurt anything. Neither one of them are about over 160, 170 pounds. It's a lightweight fight.
They're down to 10 for the Texas 20. 42-9. Cougars leading the Longhorns. Ware for the end zone, looking for Phillips again, overthrown. So with that, Roman Anderson will come on to attempt a field goal. This one should be from in the vicinity of 37 yards with the line of scrimmage at the 20.
Well, if the Houston run and shoot offense has any misgivings or any faults, it's that when it gets inside the 20-yard line, it usually bogs down. Now, a lot of people liken that to the old street yard type of play, you know, where you go here, you go there. But everybody on that offense has a set pattern. They all know where they're going.
Anderson, 37-yard attempt. Ball is down. Line drive is good. Anderson from 37 yards. 45-9. The Houston Cougars going on top, and we're going to break away for a moment. 4 minutes, 36 seconds left in the third period. We'll be right back. Travel arranged through Eastern Airlines, serving Houston's business travelers with nonstop service to Atlanta from convenient Hobby Airport. Eastern, we've got your ticket to the heart of the South. Travel arranged through the new NFL Citibank Visa card. Now carry the card of your favorite team and earn free NFL gear just for using it. Call 1-800-NFL-VISA today. And we are back. Ron Franklin along with Dave Rowe. Unbelievably, this ball game is 3 hours old, and we still have 4:36 to play. Folks not in the ball game in the third period. I know there's a 7-run rule in some softball circles. I wonder if there's a 7-touchdown rule in others. Kerry Cash out over the 40, close to the 45.
Number 19, Kerry Cash, receiving the kickoff and moving.
That shows you how hungry the fans are here. They're standing up there excited about a run by Kerry Cash over 10 yards because it really has been complete dominance by Houston offensively. Ron, I want to make one point quickly, and that is that some people may think that was running up the score, what Jack Pardee did right there.
No way.
But what do you do if you go for it and you make it? Then it's even worse. Then it even looks worse on you. I think that's a very sportsmanlike thing to do. He doesn't want to lose, though, his offensive edge because he's got a big game next week, too.
Pass batted at the line of scrimmage. I think Keith Jenkins is the man who got a hand on it. And right now we pause briefly for station identification. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network.
56.
You're watching 20 Vision, KTX HTV, Houston.
45-9, that's the count with the Cougars on top. Metcalf hit and knocked down at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Hooper in the ball game. Trey, a sophomore out of Mineral Wells. One of the first men to come across and make the hit, and now it's going to be a third down situation. Also, Callaway coming up from his quarterback spot. Blitz is on in the middle, going to go long, looking for Tony Jones, and no marker, incomplete.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I'd like to take another look at it. I'm sorry. Maybe we can look down the sideline there. Oh, see, now that's what I saw. Now, maybe they ruled the ball was uncatchable,
But defensive holding, I guess, is what Tony was pleading for. Jadal's kick flies 5 yards deep into the end zone. 55 yards. You take a look at some of the Houston Cougars on the sideline.
I heard Mineral Wells.
Yeah, that's Trey Hooper, the sophomore from Mineral Wells. Take a look at the remaining schedule for the Houston Cougars. Next week, the Wyoming Cowboys. Then on the 19th, out on the South Plains against Texas Tech, and then they wrap it up against Rice. That game is in the Astrodome. So 2 at home and 1 on the road for the Houston Cougars.
Tickets are $20 on sale for Grandviews and Belmont. November the 23rd.
Dixon comes in motion back to the open side of the field.
this. 66 even is what he yelled on the line. Got an interesting stat here as we watch Phillips take this ball out of bounds. All the points that Houston has scored today have taken 7 minutes and 16 seconds.
That's incredible.
Their longest drive has been 2 minutes and 36 seconds. So that tells you how fast and how quickly they move the ball downfield.
I know they don't keep that stat, but you would have to think that with 45 points on the board, that
You've had the ball all day.
That's an incredible average. Weatherspoon breaks it open, and there's nobody in front of him at the 30, at the 20, cuts back at the 10, and he will score. Yards of the touchdown run, and for Weatherspoon, 10 carries for 209 yards, I believe. Isn't that right?
That is correct. Well, that's a good average, 20.9 yards. Once you blitz, we talked about it earlier when he broke that other one up the line. If you break that seam in the middle, in other words, you block him out, and you get that little seam, and the running back sees that he skirts up into it, and you called it the minute it happened, Ron, you see there's the 209 yards. The minute it happens, you're in the secondary, and there's no one to bring you down. You have no linebackers because they're up on the line blitzing.
Extra point attempt is good by Anderson. Here's another look at it as Houston was spread out all over the field, and there's nothing left in the middle.
See how quickly they get to see him. Now, right now, when he breaks that tackle, he's gone right now. There's no one in front of him. He's just got a clear run. He sets up the cornerback right here. He thinks somebody's coming from the backside, but he sets up the cornerback, cuts back into the corner. That's a tired young man. 10 runs, 209 yards. Again, watch the seam open up right in the middle. Breaks that tackle. Now he's gone. There's nobody even near. You can see the 40-yard line. There's the 30 to 20, and he's just chalking up yardage.
52-9 with 3 minutes, 53 seconds left to play in the third period.
Can be purchased at the Irwin Center or at any of the UT.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Hey, little sis. What's up? In La Habra, California.
I think he took California is what he said. That's where he hails from. Only a sophomore at 5'8", 210 pounds. I asked Jack Pardee about him yesterday, and he said, Ron, it's one of those things where every time you saw him on the practice field, he smiles no matter what happens. And he said on the team that we had him on, we couldn't tackle him. And we decided that if we couldn't tackle him, maybe the opposition couldn't tackle him.
I think they're right.
Deion Cockrell at the 20. 35 and out to the 40-yard line for Cockrell.
Ron, to give you a comparison of his dominance, he has 209 yards rushing. The entire Texas offense has 204 yards.
Houston with a total. Here you see Weatherspoon, last 2 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. Total offense for the Cougars today, 486 yards, and that is not through 3 periods yet. Cockrell wrapped up in the middle of the line as Hooper steps up to make the initial contact.
And I can tell you that Houston's offensive line coach, Bob Young, is excited. I saw him coming off the field. I played against him for many years, and he just still looks like he can play. He's a little bit heavier as we all kind of settle in, but he's got to be excited about this offensive line of his, breaking those lines. That's the old lineman's dream, to have those big, long runs.
Murdoch under pressure, and he is sacked, and I think it's Hooper again. It is because Jenkins 64 standing by him. It's a loss of 5, and Trey Hooper getting the sack. Runs with 2 minutes 45 seconds in the third period. The Cougars with 52 points to show so far. 52-9. Metcalf gets by one tackler, tries to get outside, gets by Jackson at the 45, and is finally going to be tackled tackled at the 47-yard line. Lamar Lathan and Callaway combining in the stop. And Metcalf looks as though he has injured that left ankle again.
You may see this on the tail end. When he cuts back, his leg seems to slip a little bit. Right there, he gets stepped on. That's Lathan steps on that ankle. And he's limping to the sideline.
Being helped off the field.
Lil Jadal called on to punt again. He has been a busy young man this afternoon. Metcalf, 27 carries for 104 yards. Good look at Spanky Stevens and Eddie Day. Spanky, of course, the longtime head trainer here at the University of Texas. Line drive at the 5. That thing may wind up inside Newhouse Royal. 53 yards in the punt by Lil Jadal. New quarterback of the ball game, David Dacus, senior out of Kingsville, Texas. And there you see his numbers.
Usually he has been the starter this year, and Ware has been the cleanup man, so to speak. But this time Dacus playing a different role. Well, that leaves Mr. Ware ending with some pretty good statistics for a quarterback.
We'll get you those final numbers on him in just a second. Throwback screen. That's Phillips. Hager is the man on top. James Patton is the one underneath.
92, James Patton, and number 60, Brett Hager, fighting for the stop.
The numbers on Ware on the day, 18 of 42 for 296 yards and 5 touchdowns, 1 interception.
29.
Dacus back over the middle. That's Dixon. Behind a block at the 30, 35, and driven out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Lee Brockman finally forced him out. Dickinson Gators is what he is saying. That's the high school he played for.
Come on! Come on!
We're getting everybody in the sidelines now. You know, there's not a lot of drop-off when you turn around and have a David Dacus, 107 of 188, over 1,400 yards passing, 57% completions. He is not a backup quarterback.
Dacus going to go long, and it is intercepted by Stanley Richard at the Texas 30-yard line. Brian Williams, the intended receiver. Stanley Richard comes now with the football.
Good one-on-one coverage on the right of your screen. You'll see it. He throws it up on a fly pattern. Good. You see the wide receiver is out of bounds. He can't come back in and make that catch. Good concentration on that play.
You know something I've always wondered about, I know I shouldn't even mention this. After a player goes out of bounds, is he eligible to come back and try to play defensive back, as backs do if he's out of the play? He is not, is he? I mean, that had nothing to do with that play. Just wondering. I believe Chris Samuels on the carry goes for 5.
I believe, of course, the wide receiver.
I was asking hypothetically because from time to time you see that kind of situation.
I think a defensive player can go out of bounds and come back in, but I know a wide receiver cannot. Offensive receiver cannot go out of bounds and come back in and catch a pass. If you did, you'd have him running down the sideline and just skirting back in.
Yeah, and that's my point. I know if he can't participate there, I just wonder
if he can come back and break it up.
Yeah, and I reiterate, it had nothing to do with that play. I'm just wondering hypothetically what that situation would be. Samuels again brings it out to around the 40-yard line as Hooper is there to make the tackle, and that should be the final play of the third period, unless Texas hustles back to the line of scrimmage. clock is going to stop momentarily as they move the chains. Metcalf down on the sideline trying out that ankle. They had a great shot. Guys in the truck doing a good job in that replay to show you when the ankle got stepped on there, the reason that he had to limp off the field. And with that, the end of the third period. Now a marker is down.
The question is, Ron, whether the clock threw him off sides or whether that's the end of the third quarter.
No flag. That is the end of the third period. So let's take a break. 52-9. Houston leading over Texas. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. With the University of Houston leading the Texas Longhorns. A run and shoot.
You think there'll be a lot of coaches copying that after this game or after this season? There's the total yards. It's just very, very hard to defense. I remember we did a game earlier, Ron, against Baylor, and Baylor went to 3 down linemen and tried to defense it with about 8 defensive backs. They tried to do it that way, and they did very well, and then all of a sudden they got burned. Texas today decided that they were going to blitz, using those outside linebackers to try to put pressure on it, putting Britt Hager down on the line, trying to make him absorb one block, and all of a sudden they got burned by it. It's just it's a very devastating offense. It's just all predicated off of what your opponent does.
Texas with a first down at their own 40-yard line. That's Samuels, I beg your pardon. Out across the 45 to around the 47. Lamar Lathan defensively making the stop for the Cougars. You know something, Dave? One other point, though, that needs to be made about their offense. I don't think anybody can take the run and shoot. I think you're talking about 4 exceptional people that make this offense go. I think you're talking about Weatherspoon, Phillips, Dixon, and Andre Ware, who have thrown the ball extremely well. I don't think you can just spread people out all over the field and say, this is going to be magic and it's going to work.
Well, that's, of course, and you have to credit the offensive linemen, too, because it takes a different type of block styling. You're not the old run blockers where you just drive them off the line. You have to do pass blocks. You have to pick up. There's just a lot of things. You have to be very smart to play it because there's so many line adjustments as it takes place. You see Ware coming off the line. He's yelling this way. He's yelling that way. Well, the offensive linemen have to pick up that same count. They have to know what the play is. They have to react to it. Everything is different on every play. But you're right. It starts with 4 outstanding athletes.
On third down, Samuels right up the middle. Down to the 47-yard line for the first down. Hooper, since he has come into the ball game, has done a very good job. He was credited with a tackle then also. Murdoch under heavy pressure, intercepted at the 45. Can he stay in bounds? No. Alton Montgomery, you talk about breaking on the football. He came from, it looked like, 15 yards away, and in a very short period of time.
Now he's got the quarterback zeroed in right there. Look at it. He's already broken to the football. You're right, Ron. He read him right off the pass.
Reading his eyes because Murdoch was staring down the tight end Clark, who was the intended receiver. And it is Houston Cougar football at the 38-yard line.
And that is a young freshman mistake, but that's a growing pain. You've got to give credit to the defense, but that's a growing pain. That's where that quarterback zeroes in and locks in on the wide receiver's intended receiver, and all of a sudden the defensive back reads it, steps right in front, and boom, now they're inside the 40-yard line.
David Dacus, pass incomplete, and now the marker goes down. Let's go to the Apple Roundup here and check some other scores from around the country. Notre Dame winning big over Rice. West Virginia over Cincinnati. Auburn 38-0 over Southern Mississippi. They're in the third period.
Nebraska, of course, way out in front of Iowa State, 38-0 in the third. Arkansas ahead of Baylor, 19-3 in the third. LSU trailing Alabama, 15-7 at half.
That pass was to an ineligible receiver. As we take a look, Louisiana Tech leading Texas A&M. Good heavens, 14-8 in the second period. And Tech and TCU all knotted up at 10 apiece. So that's a loss of down on the play. And with the penalty, it's 2nd and 15. Dacus going long, has Williams there, and it's knocked away. Brian Williams, the intended receiver at the 5, and Mark Berry knocked it away. 7 turnovers, Texas, 3 fumbles, 4 interceptions, and for the Cougars, 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions.
And that time, if Dacus had had a little stronger arm, Williams had broken behind his defensive back and was about 5 yards in the clear. The pass was not well thrown, even though it was thrown with the wind. Signaling his wide receivers. Over the middle, has it complete. Dixon at the 35, and he'll run out of bounds to stop the clock, of all things, at 13:06 to play in the ball game. Well, I think it was a little bit more, as we watch him on this crossing pattern, and I watch him just break open right there. It's a hard catch. It's low behind him, but now what he's trying to do is trying to get around someone and just sees it has to get out of bounds. I don't think so much he was trying to stop the clock. 4th down and 3. Now, do you punt it or do you go for it? I think you almost, well, if you're going to try to keep offensive continuity, you usually go for it in this situation.
Weatherspoon is coming in the ball game.
Boy, this will hurt his average if he gets to carry. It's 21 yards to carry right now.
Dacus going under center with 5 seconds showing on that 25-second clock. Gives it off in the draw. Weatherspoon bounces off a tackler, has the first down, and he's inside the 25.
Cut back on his average. I guess he got, what, about 7 or 8 on that? Maybe 9.
Jay Jaquez finally stopped him. But it's a first down to Houston Cougars as the chains have been reset. The ball just on the 23-yard line. Wide open, Phillips, touchdown. Trying to cover desperately, but for Jason Phillips, new Southwest Conference record, 12 touchdown receptions this season for Phillips.
Well, when Phillips made that move to the corner, the safety just bid on that inside move, thinking he was going to come to the inside, and he just broke it back outside. Perfect timing there by Dacus. And we talked about Dacus not being really a backup quarterback. He could probably start at most schools. He is that good a quarterback. No drop off with his talents at all.
Center. Pass is thrown and good for the 2-point conversion. Bearden, I think, is the man who came with the 2-point and now will mark her down. Did possibly, well, let's wait and see here. Illegal receiver downfield is what the call is going to be.
The tricky thing about this is that he is a left-handed thrower. That's what really took me by surprise. You can see here, now he's running out to his left here. To watch, he just throws the ball downfield. You can see some of the offensive linemen going into the end zone, so they were downfield.
Spillman got it away, and Bearden is Bearden is the one who came up with it, but with the penalty.
Cheers for, don't you?
Well, now the extra point attempt by Roman Anderson will come from the 15-yard line. Spillman again with a high pass, handles it well, and that is a spiral. The ball did not go through end over end. Let's take another look at the touchdown. Jason Phillips.
Now again, Dacus moves his pocket left. Now watch, you got a little bit of pressure, but look at the move that Phillips makes to the outside. You see the safety is back. That's Richard back into the inside. He thought he was going inside. He makes that break. It's over.
So we're going to break away for the action. 59-9 to score. We'll be right back. There you see it, and we still have 12:42 to play in the ball game. By the way, the 59 points is the most against Texas at Memorial Stadium ever. Here comes Adams with the kickoff. Texas will scrimmage from their own 20-yard line. I have a feeling what Jack Pardee is saying to John Jenkins' offensive coordinators are probably trying to coordinate who will come in on the next offensive series. Well, one thing, I would be surprised if we saw Dixon, Phillips, and those guys in there again, having scored 59 points.
I think that would surprise me, too. I think that, you know, I had an old coach, Rip Angle at Penn State, who said the football's like a giant wheel, and it slowly turns, and when your time is at the top, you make sure that you don't do dirty on the guys at the bottom, because that wheel will turn, and someday they'll get their opportunity.
Murdoch throws the pass incomplete. Tony Jones, the intended receiver. One of the things that David McWilliams made very clear this year is a number of young players that he had signed that he redshirted. And he said they're not going to play under any circumstances. There are 5 offensive linemen who are cruiserweight, you might say. They go anywhere from 270 to 314. And he said, you know, we're going to be young and take our lumps at a time, but in a couple of years, we're not going to be fun. Chris Samuels over the right side.
And Ron, to reiterate that point, that takes confidence and that takes security in your job. Not to say that a 59-9 loss is anything that gives you job security, but he's got 2 freshmen back there. We highlighted that, and 2 sophomores in his secondary. He's got several. He's got a freshman quarterback. He's got, as you say, 5 freshman offensive linemen that are going to come back. So he's got a long-range program, and you just don't want to sacrifice that for a quick 5-4 season or win 2 extra games.
Down the running play. It's going to be enough for the first down. Lathan on the top of the stack. I am a little surprised that the Cougars still have their number 1 for the most part in there on defense.
Well, another thing that a game like this does is it's, you know, the old character builder. People use that as a cliche, but I can tell you for a fact, it'll put a taste in your mouth that you just don't want to.
There's another youngster right there being redshirted. Jason Burleson, highly sought after quarterback out of Sherman, Texas. And, of course, is a youngster by the name of Peter Gardere, who is being redshirted this year, quarterback from Houston Lee. Ellison coming up from his safety spot to hit Samuels. So it stops the clock with 11 minutes, 37 seconds left to play in the ball game. Second down for the Longhorns at line of scrimmage. You can see there just across the 33. Samuels runs into his own blocker, going to be hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down his ball from his defensive end. A senior out of right here in Austin, Texas is there to make the hit, and that's going to be a loss of 6 on the play.
Conversations, of course, with David McWilliams, he said one of the things that he told me before the game. He said, I don't know if we can stop him. He said, we're going to have to play awfully well. He said, we got a lot of young people that we're going to depend upon making awfully big plays today. Houston's in their prime. They're loaded with seniors, and Texas is, their years are still to come. But they've got some good ones back there. That Willie Mack Garza can play with anybody.
Screen pass, that's Cockrell. 35 at the 40. And out to the 45-yard line. Latham gets off the bottom of the pile.
Nice screen out here to Cockrell. Now watch when he plants and puts up those blockers. Again, Houston playing that more or less prevent defense. Alton Montgomery comes over and makes that tackle. But a good play, good solid play, keep the pressure off the quarterback.
Murdoch this afternoon, 4 interceptions. Draw play. Samuels has 10, counted off to close to 15 as he goes inside the 40-yard line. Cornelius Price defensively making the stop. Here is the gentleman who is the heir apparent to that tailback position next year after Metcalf graduates, but there's another youngster, Adrian Walker, out of Tyler Chapel Hill, redshirted this year, who's not playing for Texas.
Well, most coaches, like I say, they have a set plan, and they just don't want to jeopardize that set plan. Sometimes you have to make those quick changes, but a lot of times, and of course, with the injuries that Texas has had this year, especially in their front line, gosh.
Deion Cockrell goes to the right side. That's Trey Hooper, number 94. Trey has played extremely well since he's come to the ball game back in the 3rd period. You remember I mentioned during the Baylor game, this is a delightful youngster. As you take a look at Metcalf, but that does not look good with that ankle encased in ice. Trey, you remember I mentioned in the Baylor game, was a part of the All-Star game for the state of Texas a couple of years ago out of Mineral Wells. Remember I told you he was the one that caught going through the chow line twice, and he just got a big grin and said, "It's not only my trademark, I love to eat." To the near side, Samuels gets whacked from behind. Trey Hooper again, one of the first men there. Lathan also on the bottom of the pile.
And on the other side,
And Oglesby.
And Ron, on the other side line with Houston, Houston's got a good shot at the bowl. They've got a good football team. I think they're probably the surprise team in the Southwest Conference.
Well, the thing that they have that makes them so attractive to bowl people is the fact that they are so wide open and exciting. And bowl teams or bowl people are looking for that kind of situation. Samuels loses his footing. He will go down and lose almost 5. Let's call it 3 as he went down at the 35.
Well, Houston has got some tough ones as we watch this replay. Houston has got some tough ones coming up. Their next week's game is as big as you're going to play.
Yep, that one right there could not only do a lot for Jack Pardee and his football team, but could do a lot for the Southwest Conference as far as national image, don't you think?
I certainly do.
4th down, and of course Texas down 59-9. They'll go for it. Murdoch gets his pass away, incomplete, overthrown, and now a marker comes down.
Going to be pass interference. Callaway cutting in distance.
And the crowd on the Texas side is saying, good timing, huh?
Yeah.
That ball was not catchable.
And that may be what they're looking at to see if the ball was catchable. Perhaps we can see it here. You'll see the overthrow. There's pass defense, interference, I should say. And watch as Murdoch. He just throws this ball up, but watch what Callaway comes back underneath. He bumps him right there.
Yeah.
Number 24.
So as they reset the chains, it's going to be a 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Todd Smith is coming at offensive center for the Longhorns, a junior out of Richardson, Texas. Samuels breaks it open at the 20, at the 15, cuts behind a block at the 5, and he will score. That is a really good second effort by the youngster, Chris Samuels out of San Antonio.
One thing that he does very well, it kind of reminded me of Metcalf on that. He's got a different running style, but when he got out there and he got free, he set up his wide receiver. He said, "You get him, and I got it." And he pointed at him, and the receiver turned around, picked up the block, and that's what enabled him to get in for a score. But he really set up it very nice. And he's one of those sophomores that you're talking about, young players.
Texas will go for 2. looking for Kerry Cash, and it is incomplete. Here's a ground level look. Give you a little better idea of what Dave's talking about on that last touchdown run by Chris Samuels.
Well, there's a place during a run where you have to gather your composure, and that's what Samuels does on this play. He makes a nice cut back against the grain. Now watch when he gets through here. Now watch right in here. He sets him up. You get him, and he said, I can make it from there. And the receiver turns around, makes a nice block, dives in the end zone.
We will be right back. Ron Franklin and Dave Rowe here at Memorial Stadium in Austin. 8 minutes still remaining to be played in this ball game, and we have had a number of records. And if you've just joined us, first of all, most points ever scored against Texas at Memorial Stadium. For the youngster, number 20, Jason Phillips, what an afternoon, as he has broken the season touchdown reception record in the conference, and he also took over one that is very, very big. And of course, that one is the one by Emmanuel Tolbert. Catches in a career. Dixon on the return comes across the 37-yard line. And Donald, if I'm leaving out any, please tell me, but I know those three are three of the biggest ones that have been, as far as an individual and also a team record, that we have had broken in today's ball game.
And I'm going to need a sandwich if we stay up here much long. How about that one? Arkansas now way ahead of Baylor, 33-3 in the fourth quarter, going to host the Mobile Cotton Bowl here in Texas. That's what you call control.
Dacus continues to operate at quarterback. Well, Dixon and Phillips are still in the ball game. This is Dixon with the ball. Gets outside of Brockman. Hit, turned to Flip, loses the football, and it's been recovered by Texas at the 41-yard line. With the football.
It's a little surprising to see your premier running backs and wide receivers in a game this late with this big of a score.
Oh, if you get them hurt, then you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I really wish I hadn't done that.
And that's how you get them hurt, when they make plays like that. It's one thing in the heat of battle. It's a very good play. It's a good tackle, but this is where you get them hurt. Suppose he sprains an ankle on this play, and we've talked about the importance of next week. I can promise you that the breath came out of Pardee on that play. Jack Pardee saying, ooh, boy, just let him get out there.
Samuels turns it up inside the 35. Checking his 33, Deion Cockrell rather than 23, Samuels. Darren Warren making the tackle for the Houston Cougars. Samuels hit behind the line of scrimmage. Glenn Montgomery, senior out of Gretna, Louisiana, comes across to make the stop. Loss of 3 in the play. It's going to bring up a third down.
And the horses are still in there, Ron. I look down and see Glenn Montgomery, 56, and he's one of the horses. That young man plays football out there as well as any down lineman I've seen in the Southwest Conference.
Murdoch looking on the comeback, overthrown. Intended for Tony Jones down at the 21. So it is now 4th down for Texas. If they want to hold on to the football, they got to go just inside the 31-yard line of Houston.
Stats that Mark Murdoch has this week. Of course, last week he had just an exceptional game, 326 yards passing. He was 20 of 35.
Murdoch for Clark, incomplete. Price covering over a pass was overthrown, and the Cougar offense will come back on with 6 minutes and 29 seconds left to play in this one. You see a very dejected Mark Murdoch making his second start.
Well, One thing that he has is a lot of freshman composure. It's surprising that as a freshman he has that much composure. He's been in some tight football games already as a starter this year and under a lot of pressure, but he really keeps his composure when he's out there.
Now Jason Phillips going out of the ball game. He had come out on the field, but Alexander has checked in at wide receiver, and now Dixon heading off the field also. So they get Phillips and Dixon out. Jet Brown is in, and that's him in motion coming behind the quarterback. Anders up the middle, crosses the 40 to the 44. Jay Jaquist riding him down at the 44.
Jay Jaquist, number 91 on the stop.
Of course, you know, when you start talking about backups, I think that Weatherspoon, you would consider him a backup to Kimball Anders, wouldn't you? As that's in that super back position, and he's got over 200 yards rushing today. So this is their year if they're going to do it. They have just an outstanding people at the skill positions.
Phillips comes back into the ball game. He's one of the 3 wide receivers down at the bottom of your screen, but it's Anders on the carry, has the first down, and add about 5 or 6 more to it. Britt Hager tripped him up, and it's in Texas territory around the 47.
And number 9, Mark McBerry, fighting for the stop.
59-15 our score. 5:43 left to play in this ball game. 69,600 paid their way in here today, and there are not too many of those left in this stadium right now.
Well, this play is 2C, whatever 2C is.
Is caught. The 40 to the 35, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds. It's Paul Smith. Garza finally shoved him out of bounds.
And I'm going to tell you how hard a play that is to catch. When a ball is low like this is a very difficult pass for a receiver to catch. Low like that, below his body. Now it almost looks as if he's running to get out of bounds again to stop the clock. Look here. Just get out of bounds and I'll stop the clock.
Yards on the play as Dwayne Duncombe, injured and has just been helped off the field. Try to get a report on him. Dacus back in the pocket. Incomplete as it bounces on the turf. Nope, they're going to say he got incomplete. That's what I thought. Cooper, the intended receiver.
Conference over this one. I certainly thought it was incomplete also. One official came in and said no good. Now watch here. I think we can see the ball hits the ground. Yes, it's on the ground clearly. Now he scoops it right up.
Wendell Sheldon says complete. Wow. I wouldn't want to be Ken Faulkner on Monday.
Well, moving right along. Isn't that what they say? Moving right along. I saw clearly one official come in and signal no good, Ron. That's what I read.
Complete at the 15, inside the 10-yard line. Alexander with a 1st and goal for the Houston Cougars. Higgins, a freshman linebacker, comes in to make the tackle. They're going to spot it down at just outside the 6.
Is the call as we hear Dacus at the line.
Draw play, Kimball Anders inside the 5, down to the 4. Jeff Higgins again on the stop, number 31 for the Longhorns. It's party time.
It's Party time in Houston. 34, of course, would normally be a 3 back through the 4 hole, the old football lingo, as you would call it, but there's no telling what that is in Houston. It's probably 34. I want the ball. Throw it to me. I got this one, red 2 flag. Okay.
Dacus over the middle, incomplete. Jet Brown, the intended receiver. That stops the clock with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to play in this ball game, which somehow seems like it might have started yesterday.
That time I watched Patrick Cooper. He was a little upset. He's down at the bottom of your screen. There's Duncan, by the way, leaving.
Dwayne Duncombe heading to the locker room, as is Eric Metcalf. Anders hit by Jaquist, still on his feet, and finally goes down as Higgins wraps him up back at the 8-yard line. Under 3 minutes to play in this one. Fourth down and goal. Score. (65-15) with 2:28 left to play in the ball game. Roman Anderson to attempt the extra point. Kick is up, and he is good. Take another look at it.
And it's a dump pass over top of the pressure, and you'll see Anders just kind of sneak right in there. And then Dacus just turns around, breaks a couple tackles, goes in for the score.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. 66-15 our score. We still have 2:28 left to play in this one. That's Adams, the barefooted kicker, who handles the kickoff chores for the Houston Cougars. Of course, Roman Anderson is the man who does extra points and field goals. Fielded at the 3. That's Curtis Govan. Comes out for the 20. And with that, let's take a break. 2:22 left to play in the ball game, and we're going to be right back. Samuels to the near sideline, steps out of bounds at around the 30-yard line. It's going to be a pickup of close to 9 of the play. I want to remind you, we'll be selecting our Coors Player of the Game at the conclusion, which is now very near. 2:16 left to play, so stay with us for that.
Well, there's a lot of candidates.
Yeah, but there's one who stands out. We'll wait just for a couple of seconds. But
we'll hold back.
One who stands out extremely well in this one.
Well, when I say a lot of candidates, of course, Andre Ware would have to be considered. You'd have to consider, of course, Phillips. Dixon has played well. Weatherspoon with 209 yards, 220 yards on 12 carries. There's a lot of people that have played very well for this Houston Cougar offense. So with that in mind, we'll just hold off, right, buddy?
Yeah.
Keep everybody in suspense.
66-15 the score with 2:16 left to play. Houston now in total offense, 619 yards for Texas, 319. And Weatherspoon has 218 yards himself. Samuels puts a head down, and on the first down play comes out to the 36.
Texas A&M 18, Louisiana Tech 14.
Trey Hooper making the stop on the play. Curtis Govan, who is a walk-on wide receiver, down at the bottom of your screen. Deion Cockrell out to the 40-yard line as Thomas steps up to make the hit on him. It's going to be shy of the first down by just about a yard. So third down and just a couple of feet. Clock is about to go under 1 minute left in this one.
And Ron, there's a young man that's had a real learning experience today, Mark Murdoch. I don't think he'll be in this position many more times here at Texas. They've got too fine a program to be in this position. He's learned a lot today. He's taken a lot of pressure. He's taken a lot of hits. He's just learned an awful lot.
Cockrell breaks it up the middle out to the 45-yard line. Well, we are pleased to announce that today's Coors Player of the Game, Jason Phillips of the University of Houston. Of course, he broke 2 records here today. 177 receptions. That is a record at 12 touchdown catches in a season. It has been some kind of day. Jason Phillips, our Coors Player of the Game.
And he still has 3 more games to go, at least.
Wyoming Tech and Rice. Samuels slips down at the 48-yard line. See the clock running down as this afternoon the Houston Cougars have put more points on the board than anybody has ever scored at a Texas team in the history of Memorial Stadium.
Marching band competition. 1A, 2A, 3A, and 2
I think it's more points than I've ever seen either, Ron. I haven't done many football games with 66 points, and I also haven't played in many football games that took 4 hours to complete.
Murdoch over the middle, Samuels, and he will be stopped as the clock winds down. And this one will go into the record books as the second worst loss ever by a University of Texas team. So let's take a break. Final score 66-15. The Houston Cougars will be right back.